Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Great to have everybody here this morning. And this is it's almost like the last time we had planned to do this one, and then I had more to do on this very dirty Princess of Singers than I originally anticipated. So the last live stream, as you know, we had to move forward with the 222K that is going to be heading to Texas this week, and had to postpone doing the live stream on this Princess of Singers, the 221. But today, because of working late in the workshop last night, as some of my leadership team members know, I was able to finally do the final steps that I wanted to do on this machine. And again, my process takes on a machine like this, because it had a lot of varnishing, had some rust and other issues going on, around 16 hours. And that's not a continuous 16, although it feels like it sometimes. But it's spread out over a couple of days as I slide in other projects as well. But we got there. That's the big deal. We got to the finish line, and I never ever will put a machine underneath the bright lights until I feel that she has been given the full treatment, and that she's ready for the dance, as I kind of put in the title today. She started out as a dirty little princess, and now she's a debutante ready to do her dance at the ball. So let's see if we can't launch into this pretty quick and give you a chance to see or realize for the first moment and time what a featherweight is capable of doing. I love to surprise folks and show them that even a little petite powerhouse like this machine that has a 0.4 amp motor, just like the last 222K that we presented. Oh, cool. Okay. Susie just sent me a quick note telling me that the owner is here. And again, as the owner knows, I apologized the last time. Everyone gets it. I'm a one-man show. I do everything from the initial contact with the customer, assessing the project, getting to a point of working that machine through the long line of other machines waiting to reach the workbenches, and then ultimately service that machine, adjust it. In some cases, do some paint mitigation as well, like I did on Mary's machine. The outside, if you look at some of the reels that I posted on Facebook, the outside patina on this machine was just not indicative of what you would expect a princess debutante getting ready to do her dance at the ball looking like. So I spent quite a few, I probably spent about 2 hours last night going over the paint. It's not perfect. It's not as if it's been down in the workshop, the paint shop. It's not as if it's been down in the paint shop with brand new clear coat, brand new paint, decals, and all that. But she is looking really, really good right now. And she's feeling good as well. And isn't that the thing when you talk about our sewing machines, our treasures that are in our collection? When we sit down to them, if we immediately feel a sense of excitement, if we sit down to that machine and we feel a sense of wonder and delight, it's because that machine not only sews beautiful stitches, but it also makes us feel good. And that's really what I wanted to accomplish with this dirty little princess as she started out. I wanted Mary, when she collects these machines up next week, she's going to be driving in, and she could share with you in the live chat. I don't remember how far she's traveling, but she's had to make some family arrangements and other things. It hasn't been a quick, easy thing to do. She's had to do some coordination on her end to be able to make this trip in to pick up her last two machines. Her last two machines being that Necky that you saw me present recently, and then, of course, this featherweight 221. And then her other machine, and I say this all the time, but I know we have new folks at the live stream, so they're not aware of this. Her other machine was that really super cool Singer 66K hand crank that Mindy, that I noticed is in the live chat today, but she's in the middle of the ocean somewhere or something. She must be on a vacation somewhere. I have no idea. Mindy can share a little bit more about where she's at, where there's kind of sketchy Wi-Fi that she's trying to use right now to be a part of the live stream. But Mindy scooped up Mary's other machine, that 66K, and now it's calling home out in the great state of Nevada. So it's exciting. Our family is close knit. We share the same passions. We share the same joy when it comes to vintage sewing machines. And when one of our family members has a machine that, for whatever reason, they're wanting to downsize, they're wanting to, part with that machine and maybe acquire a different one, or whatever the situation is, it's great to be able to introduce that machine to the family first, not put it up on eBay, not put it up on Facebook Marketplace, where people are not likely to appreciate it to the depth that we do. And so it was great to be able to present Mary's other machine, that 66K hand crank. And Mindy right away recognized the treasure in that machine. And even before I sewed a first stitch, she sent me a text message, and she basically said, in a very ladylike, dignified, debutante way, said, "Scott, that's my machine." She might have inserted a couple of other words in there, but Mindy right away recognized Mary's machine as a treasure and scooped it up. And so then the proceeds from that sale to Mindy on behalf of Mary were then able to be poured into the Necky machine you've already seen, and then also this featherweight that we're going to be checking out today. So it all works out, doesn't it? And if it stays in the family, all the better, all the better. So I'm going to real quick direct the attention back to our debutante, and then I'm going to go down the list of folks in the live chat, say some good mornings real quick. And I've also got a little bit of a surprise for you today. We're not going to be only focused on Mary's machine, but what I'm going to demonstrate, or try to demonstrate today, and I've already done it to Mary's machine, is I'm going to try to demonstrate, if you don't have access to a professional paint shop like I currently do, where you've got a spray bay and you've got all the professional equipment and everything like that, you can still mitigate certain issues with your machine in your own home, in your own sewing space, if you do it carefully and in a calculated manner. And what all of that blah, blah, blah is leading up to is one of the issues on Mary's featherweight. And again, when you're talking about a featherweight, the princess of singers, once I'm done with the workshop magic, and in some cases the paint shop magic, that machine should look like it's ready to go to the ball. It should look like it's ready to go underneath the bright lights and go, look at me, bow to me, that sort of thing. And one of the things that we always focus on when we're doing these live streams is we're focused at what's happening down at the needle, right? And people will take different approaches to try to clean up the chromium pieces on their machine, particularly their featherweights. If they're getting ready to go to a quilting retreat or something like that, they want that machine to be looking good, because all of their friends that they see at those quilting retreats and those sewing gatherings and such, let's just face it, let's be honest for a second, there's already a little bit of a clickiness among featherweight owners. They've got a secret handshake. They've got their own little circle, and you've got to get invited to come into their circle. And so when you go to these gatherings in that, and I'm not sure where Mary might be taking her princess of singers, but you want that machine to be standing tall, looking good, ought to be in Hollywood. You know what I mean? We used to say that in the military all the time. When we were ready to go underneath the bright lights for a command inspection or something like that, we always said, let's get ready. We got to be standing tall, looking good, ought to be in Hollywood. And that was my goal with this machine as well. And as I looked at the throat plate, the feed dog cover, that little chromium plate, someone at some point, and Mary might have knowledge of this or be able to share how it happened, but people will go after that plate with steel wool, and they'll use sometimes chemicals, other things like that, to try to bring that shine to the surface. And just the last live stream, if you remember, I introduced a new approach to trying to shine those pieces up. If you weren't there, let me grab that real quick and I'll show you. So this is something I found is this particular chemical here. It's let me get my glasses on so I don't misread it. This particular chemical is by a company called Homebright, and it's a streak-free stainless steel cleaner, polisher, blah blah blah. Well, in most cases, and I always say do a little test corner to make sure that depending on the thickness of the chromium left on your pieces, that it's not going to have an adverse effect. But generally, the same polish compounds that work on stainless steel will also work on chromium coated pieces, assuming that chromium coating is in good condition. And like I said, other people that try to do the quick approach and they'll grab some steel wool and they'll go over that chromium piece and try to bring that luster up. In a lot of cases, they have success, but realize when you're using something like steel wool, it's abrasive. And whenever you're using something abrasive against a chromium coating, that again, like I shared in the last live stream, that chromium coating on the pieces on your machine is about 1/5 the thickness of a piece of paper. Let me say that again. The chromium coating on most of the pieces on your machine is going to be the thickness of about 1/5 the thickness of a piece of paper. So it's really easy if you're polishing that piece up to go too deep. And what happens when you go too deep, you end up exposing that base coat, that base metal that's underneath the chromium, which almost looks like a copper type finish. And I'll show you an extreme I'll show you an extreme instance of that where someone tried using a more abrasive approach, and this is the result they got. And what you're seeing there is you're seeing the base coat or the base metal, which almost looks like a copper, doesn't it? You're seeing that copper type base metal exposed now. It's no longer covered by the chromium. It's no longer protected by the chromium. And what you have right now is a very unsightly feed dog or a throat plate cover that if we're doing a live stream, and Mary's wasn't this bad, by the way. Mary's had some of this copper showing through right around in this region here around the needle area. But it just wasn't representative of what I figured a Princess of Singers should look like. And so I used a process on Mary's to try to remedy that without going all the way down to the paint shop. But you can see right now it's kind of distracting, isn't it? Kind of distracting. So if I show you Mary's a little bit closer, I'll shut off the light real quick. Mary's, again, wasn't as bad off as this, but I will show you the plate now. You can even get a little bit closer to it. It's got a renewal, doesn't it? And again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's renewed. And now it's not a point of distraction as we're going through this live stream today. And that's something I do. That's something I do for my customers, especially a great customer like Mary that has brought me several machines. I do that for my customers without even a second thought because I want to go above and beyond. I want to give them a finished product. I want to give them a debutante type product instead of coming back and the machine is running great. It's stitching page 34 plus stitches, but it's distracting to that owner as they sit down to it and they keep focusing on that blemish, almost like when we're adolescent teens. If you had this experience when you were in, say, middle school or going into high school, and a big event was coming up at the high school or the middle school, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get a pimple that pops up right on the middle of your chin, almost like Nanny McPhee in the movie, and right away you're mortified because you're pretty sure that everyone's going to be focusing on that pimple instead of looking at you when you go to that special event, when you're at that impressionable age of being what do they call it, a tween, a teenager. So I didn't want there to be any distractions for Mary after she's waited some time to get this machine back. So I just did that. And I'm going to do my best today to try to demonstrate how you can do that as well in your own place without having access to a professional paint shop or something like that. As a matter of fact, I'm almost thinking that I should do that before we even get into the machine over here. But I'm going to give you a little bit of homework first to do some research and to look up some answers, because I'm back to the mode again. And this is, again, the stuff, if you want to check it out, I'll just show it to you one last time. But again, if you use this on any of the chromium pieces on your machine, put a little bit of this on a Q-tip swab and do a corner of it first before you just slather it on there. Because remember, your chromium pieces have had exposure to other people, cleaning them with different things. And so that thickness of chromium that I talked about, that's about 1/5 the thickness of a piece of paper on your particular machine, might be quite a bit thinner than usual. And then this might have a reaction to that base metal underneath, and you might have a bad outcome. So just be real conservative. Put a little bit on a Q-tip swab, put it on the corner of the plate, and then let it set for just a second or so. I'm not sure what the directions say. I'm the typical guy. I seldom read directions, but I've had good success with this so far. But just put it on a corner, leave it for a second, wipe it off with a micro fiber type cloth, and then check out the results. And again, whenever you're cleaning any surface of your sewing machine, whether it's the paint patina, whether it's chromium, whatever it is, always go in a single direction, a sweeping motion like this, instead of going in a circular motion. Always go in a sweeping motion and constantly be rotating that cloth so that you've got a clean microfiber surface that's going over that. Otherwise, you're going to be spreading that junk back onto that chromium again, and it's going to be kind of cloudy and not so good looking. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okay, so our first step, I'm going to kind of jump into this first, I think. Oh, I was going to give you that information too. Hold on a second. Okay, so a little bit of homework for y'all. Let me get all this stuff out of the way. A little bit of homework, because this is going to tie into our contest giveaway today that I'm going to let the leadership team manage, but I'm going to give you the parameters for it. So what I'm giving away today is a set or a pair of these really cool Guggenheim professional tailoring scissors. I mean, they cut everything from leather to multiple thicknesses of woolen materials. I haven't tried to cut anything with these that I haven't had a surprising experience of being able to, just like a hot knife through butter, just be able to go through it. And it's just ridiculous how sharp these are and how resilient they are as well. And I've given a couple of these away already on this channel. I've also given a couple away to local friends that do sewing quite a bit, and they've been regular customers, and they just love them as well. I haven't heard any negative feedback, but I'm sure that someone somewhere out there, for whatever reason, has had what they consider to be a bad experience with these. It's inevitable, isn't it? But I'm going to be giving a set of these away, brand new in the box. And what I'm going to ask you to do is a couple of things. Um, I'm not going to make it easy because the value of these is around $50, right around $50. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. What I was deciding to do is, I know I've got a couple of my leaders here already, and I haven't looked at the live chat yet. But let me ask my leaders this. I can just shoot you a picture of my summary notes with the answers that I'm wanting our friends to look up. Or I can present those answers and you leaders can just type them into the live chat. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you more skin in the game. So if you want to take the total lead on this, and I can shoot you a copy of these answers, and then you can type them into the live chat, and then people can respond in the live chat with the answers. That's cool. Otherwise, I'll present them, and then you can just summary type them like a scribe and summary type them into the live chat. I hope I'm making some degree of sense. I haven't had a drink of my Diet Coke yet, so one never knows. But fabulous scissors for sure. Okay, let me see here. Do they make a left-handed pair? I have no idea. I have no idea if they make a left-handed pair. That's an excellent question. But I'm guessing that, and I don't know, I'm holding these in my left hand right now. I'm not sure how they would ergonomically, if that's the correct term, I'm not sure how they would ergonomically change these other than right on this side for a right-handed person, they have kind of a bevel right there. And on the other side, it's kind of contoured in. But I'm guessing that these could be used, not ideally, but they could be used ambidextrously because I'm kind of doing it right now. Yeah, good question, Joel. I have no idea. You could reach out to the Guggenheim people and ask them if that's something they've considered. But again, the way they're designed, I think that they could be used by a left-handed person or by a right-handed person. But that's a great question. Great question. Okay, let's see here. All right, I'm going to go down and say hey to everybody real quick, and then we'll get into this. Oh, I got to adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. I'm going to move these as well. Guys, I'm going to move you as well. You've had a chance to say hello to our family. This, again, if you're brand new to this channel, this is the Singer Repairman. And back in the day when Singer sewing machines were sold, they were sold either in Singer sewing centers. You can Google and find pictures of what those look like. But also in many cases, they were sold door to door, just like a Fuller Brushman. And we actually interviewed on this channel a gentleman that used to go door to door with basically a collection or a collage of Singer sewing machines that he wanted to present to a potential customer, and then he would sell that usually on a term basis where they would pay for that sewing machine over a period of 3 to 5 years, and sometimes pay as little as $4 a month. But it all adds up, doesn't it? And so Singer tried to bring their products not only to a central location with their Singer sewing centers, but they also brought them right to the home, right to the doorstep of potential customers. They would demonstrate the machine, and in some limited instances, depending on that location, they would actually come to the home to provide servicing to that machine, much like Alex Askarov from the UK and I do for some elderly customers or other customers that are in some way infirmed and they're not able to get out of their homes. So this is a real important gentleman because he was really the face of Singer for a lot of folks by meeting them at their home and introducing them to various Singer sewing machines. So I'm going to move our singer repairman, salesman over here. And everyone knows pretty much Dr. Singer. Dr. Singer is he is my persistent friend that always reminds me to work harder. He cracks the whip. This is the whip cracker right here. So I'm going to put him away as well. And I'm going to go down the line of live chat real quick and see if I can say some quick good mornings, and then we'll move forward with this. My thumb hurts already. Okay. So Joelle is a lefty, and she's saying that the way the Guggenheim scissors are set up ergonomically, or whatever that term is, they're not going to work ideally for a left-handed person. So she's going to reach out to these folks and, yeah, see what they say. See what they say. Reach out to them. They're a smaller company still. And generally, when you're a smaller company and you're up and coming, even if you're enjoying success, you're going to listen to your customers and your contacts. So hopefully they give that consideration. It all comes down to numbers, though, doesn't it? They're going to do some sort of market research or blah, blah, blah. And they're going to say, what potential market do we have for left-handed people? How many left-handed people are there in America that's so... Matter of fact, that's an interesting question. I'm going to Google that right now real quick. Just see approximately. Let's see if it'll give me the answer. How many left-handed people are there in the United States?
According to Healthline, takeaway, although left-hand dominant people represent only about 10% of the population, they appear to have higher health risks for certain conditions, including breast cancer.
Well, that's not very nice. All I wanted was the percentage, and now they're saying that left-handed people have more health issues. Joelle, this is not reliable. Don't even listen to it, dear. What a bunch of jokers. Oh my gosh. And that's that information making the claim that left-handed people are going to have more health issues, maybe even breast cancer. If anyone wants to write them a nasty note and say blah, 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 it's healthline.com. These people right here. Healthline.com. Send them a nasty note and tell them to stop talking about our family members like that, like Joelle, bunch of ding-dongs. So they're saying around 10%. 10% of the population in the United States is left-handed, if that's reliable. Again, like I always say, trust but verify. So that's something that Guggenheim would look at is there a big enough market to manufacture a scissor line just for left-handed people? And I'll let Joelle take up that fight. If anyone wants to step alongside Joelle and help voice their support for that as well, then get together with Joelle at the live stream and exchange an email or something else that's not going to, overexpose yourself. I always say our family is safe to share with and to build trust with, but we still have people step into our space that we don't know real well. So just be careful as to what you share with who you share, and we'll leave it at that. But so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they would do it or not. We'll have to wait and see. So I didn't know that around 10% of the United States is left-handed. So whatever number our population is, take that by 10%, and that's approximately how many left-handers we have. Yeah, I didn't know that. Didn't know. Okay, let me put my phone down again. All righty. So I'm going to go down the list real quick and say some good mornings. Okay, all the way to the top. No surprise. Susie from Minnesota was the first in the classroom today. And whenever I try to remember to do it, I do it. Class is officially in session. So if you show up late to class now after I ring the bell and you have integrity, which I hope you do, then go to one of the moderating leadership team members and say, would you please give me a late pass? And it's not difficult. They're generally very gracious. They might have you do something like rub your tummy and pat your head or something like that, stand on your left foot and do a little Irish jig. But other than that, it's easy. It's so doggone easy.
That was easy.
To arrive at class late and to get a late pass so that you don't get penalized in some way. Yeah, so just do it. Just do it. Why not? Okay. So good morning also to Mindy, who again said she was in, let's see, she's in the North Atlantic Ocean and Wi-Fi isn't working well. I have no idea why Mindy is in the North Atlantic Ocean. I hope she has a ship or a boat. I hope she's not just bobbing in the water, holding the laptop above the water and saying, I love my cow country family so much, I'm willing to even risk a shark bite so that I can be on the live stream with the family. I'm going to do it right now because that's the kind of woman that Mindy is. She's that dedicated. But at any rate, and as I scroll down, maybe she already shared why she's in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean. Got no idea. All right. Good morning also to the owner, Mary, who again is going to be making a trip to the workshop next week. I believe it's Monday. I'd have to look at my calendar. Got so much going on right now here in the workshop and otherwise, but I've got it on my calendar, and Mary's going to be making the trip in to pick up her necky machine and also this featherweight that we're going to be stitching on today. So that's really exciting. I always love having that sense of completion where a machine has gone through a very detailed process, sometimes requiring repairs as well, or maybe paint shop time or whatever. And then finally we get to that finish line and either I ship the machine out as I'm getting ready to do in the next couple of days with 2 or 3 machines are going to be leaving the workshop and heading home. Texas, Maryland, I believe it is, Annapolis, Maryland. And there might be one other machine heading out as well. Or if the customer makes the drive in. We've had customers drive ridiculous distances to come to the workshop from as far away as Canada, New York, California, New Mexico, Tennessee, Georgia, where else? Ohio, Virginia, Texas. If I already said Texas, then I said it twice. But yeah, people will make the pilgrimage to the workshop. I think it's bragging rights, isn't it? It's kind of bragging rights so that they can say, I was in the workshop and you weren't. Yeah, something like that. I have no idea. No idea at all. Okay. So anyway, good morning again to the owner. And thanks again for understanding that we had to flip those machines and present the other featherweight at the last live stream. All right. What else do we have? Good morning also to Candido from the great state of New York. And good morning to Rachel as well, his beautiful wife. What an incredible couple they are. And it's such a blessing to have them as part of our family. So always great to see Candido is here, but he does a lot of veteran stuff as well. If you're curious what Candido does with veterans to honor them and that sort of thing, ask him in the live chat. And I'm sure he'll be excited to share with you some of the stuff that he devotes his time to with veterans and maybe involved in other things as well. I have no idea. So also good morning to Teresa. Great to have Teresa here. And Teresa, I've got to get this posted. I've got to get this posted on Facebook. But Teresa has bragging rights because she persevered. And she was one of the recipients of some of those double eye needles by Schmitz. And I had given them just a little bit of a try here in the workshop and did not have any success. Teresa had won a pack of 5 of those and initially was struggling with it, couldn't get it to work, persevered, and then sent some beautiful pictures of some sewing she did, basically some columns of twin needle sewing, and then some columns of the double eye needle sewing, and how spectacular they are. So I can say, for the record, to my knowledge at least, Teresa is the first one in the Cow Country family to have a resounding success, a resounding success with the double eye needle by Schmitz. And I wouldn't be surprised, since Schmitz Needles follows us faithfully on YouTube and on Facebook. I wouldn't be surprised if they're Googling Teresa's name right now with a big signing bonus deal saying our sales, and I know this to be true. I know this to be true because of some inside information I got. So mum's the word. It's only within the family. Don't tell anyone else. But the sales that they've been having on the double eye needles, because others like me have been struggling with getting success from those needles, their sales are not doing well on that needle. In fact, if you look at Wallwack, Wallwack is a site that sells a lot of sewing stuff. Never heard of them before until Alex from California introduced this company to me. But Wallwack is even discounting their needles. I think they're down to like $2.25 or $2.30 for a 5-pack, a 5 needle pack of these double eye needles. So if Teresa can step alongside Schmitz, maybe with Jenny, our ambassador to needles, and these ladies can say to Schmitz, let's work together to get this needle on track. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to tell your customers so you can have success and your sales will start going up. Then those ladies can do that because they already have a connection with Schmitz Needles through this channel and also through the Facebook page as well. So maybe we can do that to help Schmitz out. Schmitz is a world-class company, and but even world-class companies sometimes need someone to point their rudder in the right direction so that they know which way to go to have that product be successful. As a matter of fact, let me see if I have any of those left. I'm going to check real quick. Let's see. It's my little sewing mug here. I bought more of these too. If any of the leaders have a contest idea they want to come up with, not necessarily on this live stream, but on a future live stream, I've got some of these to give away, these little clippers for cutting threads. They work really, really well. Let's see. I was going to look for needles. Give me a second here. Oh, yeah. I've got some more I can give away. So I'll leave it up to the leadership team again if they want to call an impromptu contest either during this live stream or during a future live stream. I'm ready to give away some more of these double eye needles. And if you want some tips and tricks on what Teresa did to have success with these, watch for that Facebook post or reach out to her during the live stream and ask her, what did you do? What did you do to have success with these double eye needles? And I'm sure Teresa will be very generous in sharing that information and insight, so that if you happen to win a package of these, or if you buy a package of these, you'll know right away what to do so you can have success. Yeah, I've got these. I also have some more of these super universal needles. I think I have 1 or 2 packs of these left. So if the leadership team wants to do some sort of a giveaway contest during this live stream or a future live stream, they can put their heads together and decide what they want to do between Emma, Susie, Christine, Jenny, Bill. I'm having a brain cramp right now. Any of the leaders, if they want to call an impromptu contest, just collaborate with the other leaders and let's give some more of these double eye needles away. Some of these super universal ones that have some sort of a Teflon coating or something like that, or some sort of a coating on the end of the needle so that sticky stuff doesn't stick to them. That's what these super universal needles are all about. So let's give some more of these away. What else do I have? Boy, I got a lot of these. I got a lot of these super universal ones. Oh, I also have a stretch stretch needle. They're kind of repeating themselves a little bit, aren't they? Stretch needle. Wow, I'm tired just saying that. I definitely need a sip of Diet Coke now. Oh, here's another one. And I think these came from Alex. Alex sent these. Alex and his wife sent these to me. These are the quick threading needles. The leaders can give any of these needles away during this live stream or a future live stream. Make up their own little contest, and then just let me know who won, and then I'll mail some of these needles off to our Cow Country family members. But I love giving stuff away. All of you know that, and I know the leaders enjoy it as well, because it's kind of a special reward for those folks that are so dedicated. On a busy Tuesday morning when there's so much going on, they still set aside time to join us and to be a part of the live stream. Same thing on Saturday mornings. So it's really I think it's appropriate to honor the family and to do stuff like this, through these clips, through the needles and the other blah, blah. So, yeah. Okay. I'm going to put those back up there. And yes, I've got my shirt on today, if you can't see that. Work hard, play hard shirt. I've got my work hard, play hard shirt on. Yep. Okay. Let me finish going down the live chat. Let's see who we have. I said good morning to the owner already, Mary, and then I said good morning to Candido. Good morning to Candido from New York. Good morning to Teresa again. I almost feel like I want to give Teresa some sort of a special title, having had success with the double eye needles. Maybe she is going to be the ambassador for double eye needles. I don't know. We can brainstorm that and figure out what we might do, but it's a big accomplishment where others have clearly been having challenges based on the sales of this needle worldwide for Schmitz. And Teresa could be with Jenny. Teresa and Jenny could be a huge influential presence in helping Schmitz get this back on track. Really cool. All right, who else do we have? Good morning to, I already said good morning to Mindy, who is floating in the middle of the ocean somewhere right now. God bless her. Y'all keep Mindy in thought and prayer that the sharks don't bother her when she's in the middle of the North Atlantic, blah, 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 or whatever she said. Yeah. Yep. Who else do we have? Let's see. Good morning to Deborah Williams as well. Great to have Deborah here. Good morning to Rose 777. I almost feel like I want to shout bingo after I say that, don't you? Rose 777. Bingo! I got it. Me. Good morning to Tim as well. Great to have Tim here. Let's see who else we have. Still scrolling. Good morning again to Joel from California, our left-hander, and we're going to see if we can't get Guggenheim to accommodate our 10% left-handers. That's got to be tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that are left-handed. That's got to be a big enough market, even if a small percentage of them are involved in sewing or crafts, right? Yeah, absolutely. Good morning also to Al Koss, Alex from the great state of California. Good morning. Who else do we have? Good morning to Kathy King. Great to always have Kathy here also. Still scrolling. You guys are chatty today. I love it. Our chat rates, Emma and I were talking about this. Our chat rates have been down. I always send a summary to the leaders after the live stream, and our chat rate has been at 0. So I'm glad we have new members. I hope you'll feel comfortable to to learn and to chat new things with people and to get acquainted. And not that I'm overly concerned about chat numbers, but chat numbers to me is engagement in the live stream. Engagement in the live stream means that you're having fun, you're making new friendships, you're asking questions, you're sharing answers, you're interacting with each other. It's like class participation, isn't it? It's class participation. So I've asked the leaders and Emma, as one of the most senior leaders we have, she's been here forever with us, and she's a dear friend of mine. Let's help the family to feel comfortable and to get them stepping out and participating, engaging each other, getting to know each other, making new friendships, all that blah blah blah. That's really the beauty of the classroom, is not only learning stuff and sharing stuff, but also making and forging new friendships, and we've had so many. It's crazy. So many new friends that have been established through our little presence on YouTube and Facebook as well. All right, let's see who else we have. Okay, I think I'm all the way down to the bottom. So I don't think I missed anyone. If I did, then let me know that, please. But I went down everyone I saw in the live chat at least. And if you're in the shadows right now, as I say, if you're not stepping into the live chat, you're not ready, you're not comfortable, or whatever the reason is, know that even though you're in the shadows, we are so glad you're here. We are so glad. We feel greatly blessed with anyone that takes time to join us. And once you're comfortable, take your time. Once you're comfortable and you decide to step into the live chat so we can get to know you a little bit, and you can get to know us a little bit, and also share your knowledge with us. Because again, this channel, these live streams are not about me, Scott, a sewing savant, sharing my depth of knowledge. There's a little bit of that, and the leaders as well sharing their knowledge, but we're fellow students and we're co-teachers. And that's really the beauty of when you step into the live chat, you're able to step into that co-teacher role and reach into your toolbox and give us tools that we currently don't have. So know that that's available to you. Know that we encourage that, and that you can feel comfortable. There I am. You can feel comfortable sharing here without any fear of reprisal, without any fear of judgment. We're always glad to learn from each other and to pass that knowledge on then to other circles that we're involved with, right? That's the whole idea behind a good, healthy classroom with a good, healthy proctor that's not ego-driven, but driven by that information exchange both ways, right? Both ways. I'm looking at that princess right now, and she is looking really sexy, don't you think? And again, original paint, original decals, just a little bit of Scott magic late last night, getting her ready for her debutante ball. I can't whistle. I'm trying to whistle. I can't whistle. I was going to go whoop woo or something like that. Yeah, I'm lost. Can't do it. All right. So I'm going to do this now. I'm going to give you that information. Yeah. Tim makes a good point, doesn't he? Tim makes a really good point. And the featherweight would not have been a inexpensive machine back in that time period either. I'm trying to remember the specific years of. Let me just check something real quick here. Years of the Great Depression.
According to Khan Academy, it began in 1929 and did not abate until the end of the 1930s. The stock market crash of October 1929 signaled the beginning of the Great Depression.
So here's the grace, and Tim just made a really good point. They were literally coming out of the horrible Great Depression, but Singer probably, in all likelihood, Singer was already well on its way to having this featherweight ready to present. They probably were well on their way. And by the 1930s, the Great Depression, according to this source, Khan Academy, by the early 1930s, the Great Depression was pretty much over with, or nearly over with, and things were starting to shift in a positive direction. And I think Singer probably capitalized on that, as Tim just pointed out, as they were coming out of this Great Depression, and things were starting to finally begin to take a little bit of an encouraging turn. They knew that there was a world fair coming up that was going to be in 1933. And so they only had a few years to try to give people enough confidence to be able to step forward with that theme of that Chicago World's Fair. And I'm going to give it to Tim first to potentially answer if he wants to. Tim, do you remember the theme of the Chicago World's Fair back in 1933? I shared this in the last live stream. What was the theme or the title that was the driver behind that Chicago World's Fair back in 1933? And again, it ran for almost a year, all the way into 1934. But what was the name of that? What did they call that? What were they getting people to focus on coming out of the Great Depression? What were they getting people to focus on with the theme of that Chicago World's Fair? And Susie just gave the answer, which is fine. So I'm just gonna say that yes, it was the century of progress, and even amid a great horrific event like the Great Depression, there was still a hopefulness moving into the mid 1930s, where people were looking ahead instead of looking behind. And that World's Fair that happened in Chicago in 1933 was a great stepping stone to give people a sense of encouragement that things were going to be brighter ahead. And part of the promise of that brighter ahead was the exciting things that were happening with technology, to include the featherweight. So that century of progress was really a beacon, was really a lighthouse for a lot of people that had just come out of a horrible situation, a hopeless situation. And now we're looking ahead with some sense of anticipation and hopefulness that things would be better as they were moving past that event and moving ahead to a brighter future. So again, I don't think it happened by happenstance. I think that Singer very strategically had positioned this princess of singers to step into the limelight around 1933 as a symbol, as a beacon of hope for that sewist of the day that was looking ahead and saying, because a lot of people then sewed also for money, right? That's how they made some of their income, a lot of their income. So this was also the promise that this would be another tool to help them rebuild themselves after going through that horrible Great Depression. So yeah, great point. Great point, Tim. And I appreciate you sharing that. Really, really cool. Okay. Let's see here. I was going to check one other thing real quick. Y'all, let me give you, let me see here. Yes, Tim. Yeah, Tim nailed it as well. Excellent. Okay, so let me give you some information. I didn't see in a text message. I didn't see on the live chat, but I might have missed it. I didn't see that any of the leaders specifically said, give us the information and we'll dispense it. So I'm just going to give it to you. And if one of the leaders would go ahead and retype this into the live chat, that would be great. And that way I can get the ball rolling as far as someone trying to win this pair of Guggenheim professional tailoring scissors. And again, the leaders might decide to do an additional contest during this live stream or a future live stream where they're going to be giving away some of those little thread clips or some of those needles that I showed you a little bit earlier. Oh yeah, I needed that. Okay. So let's start with Mary's machine, this Princess of Singers. It's a little bit easier for you. It should be a little bit easier if you follow me on Facebook, because you will have seen already that there's a special badge mark. There's a special badge mark on this Princess of Singers that belongs to Mary. And I believe I might be thinking of another customer. So let me add that as a disclaimer right away. But I believe when Mary and I first met, she didn't fully realize the significance of this badge mark on her featherweight. I'm pretty sure that was Mary. I believe it was. And when I explained to her that this was really reflecting the celebration of Singer hitting 100 years, established in 1851, celebrating their 100th birthday in 1951, that's when they decided to roll out this special edition featherweight with a specific centennial badge mark. That might have been Mary. I think it was Mary. And when I told her that, she said, that makes it more valuable and more rare, right? I said, yeah, you bet it does. You bet it does. And he has a featherweight right away. If they're a serious collector of featherweights, one of their goals inevitably is to get a hold of a centennial featherweight, or maybe a red badge featherweight. Or if they have real deep pockets, maybe they'll go after one of those crinkle finish type featherweights that's worth almost $10,000. I don't know. I don't have that kind of change in my pocket. But featherweight collectors, man, oh man, they will save their pennies, nickels, and dimes to try to get a hold of a machine like Mary has, especially as well as you're going to see it stitching now, and as beautiful as she is as well. So let me give you the serial number for Mary's machine. And then I'm going to see if I can move towards demonstrating this recoating of the throat and feed dog plate that's been really, really adversely impacted by someone using an aggressive approach to try to shine this up. And they've actually removed the chromium, and now you can see that base coat. You can see that base coat on there. So I'm going to do my best to demonstrate how you might be able to do this at home without having access to a professional paint shop. So serial number, get ready to write it down, because I'm going to ask our audience to look up the information I'm going to ask for. And if you get it all, and I'll let the leaders determine whether or not you got it all. If you get it all, you're going to be the winner of those Guggenheim professional tailoring scissors. So first of all, I need the full birth date, and I need the production group size for Mary's Centennial Featherweight. The serial number is A as in Adam, K as in Kilo, 431358. So again, that's AK 431358. Full birth date and also the production group size. Secondly, within the prefix of AK, within the prefix, the prefix letters of AK, are there any other featherweights that are within that cluster of serial letter prefixes? In other words, is it only this centennial model from 1951, or are there other featherweights within that same AK prefix? Hope that makes sense. If it helps you, I'll tell you there's two others. And for those, I need the same thing. I need the birth date or the year starting and the production group size for those two as well. Okay. And I can tell you that one of them, I'll give you a lot of help here. Give you a lot of help. One of them is going to be a 221. The other one is going to be a 221-1. That's also in that same AK serial number prefix as Mary's machine. Okay. Lastly, and this is a bonus, if you nail this as well, not only do you win the professional tailoring scissors, but I'm also going to include a couple packs of those needles that I showed you before, the double eye needles, the super duper pooper scooper, ones that have the Teflon, blah, blah, blah on them. I'm going to throw in needles and give you a pair of professional tailoring scissors for a total value of right around $60 to $70. And that is, tell me, and this is a little bit tricky, tell me how many machines, how many sewing machines by Singer were produced within the AK serial letter prefix. There's all kinds of serial letter prefixes that Singer had. If you go to the website that we typically go to, I'm just totally blanking on it right now. I was in the workshop till almost midnight last night. Okay, let me give a sec. I'll think of it. Oh, I'm just totally blanking on it. Hold on a second. Serial numbers. Yes, Ismax. Ismax.com or .net. Excuse me. Ismax.net. If you go to ismax.net, you'll notice there's just a ton of serial letter prefixes. Some of them are one letter, some of them are two. And if you go really, really early in the Singer sewing machines prior to 1900, there's no serial letter prefix whatsoever for those machines made before 1900. So, but my point is, I want to know how many machines were made with the letter prefix serial plate of AK, Apple, Kilo, Atom, Kilo. Yeah, appendectomy, Kilo, whatever you want to call it. But how many machines were made under AK? Like Mary's machine. Mary's is one of those machines, but how many were made in total? So I'm not making it easy, but I'm also giving away a set of these professional tailoring scissors valued at around $50. Plus, if you get that last answer of how many machines were made with a letter serial prefix of AK, then you also get needles on top of this for a total value of around $70, $75, something like that. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And if we don't get any winners today, that's okay. We'll find another way to give these away and to give those needles away at a future live stream. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to real quick shoot the answers over to the leaders. They have them. Give me one moment here. I'm going to shoot the answers over to the leaders, and that way they can monitor, because I want this to come through the live chat. I don't want you to text it to me. Okay, hopefully I took a good picture. I think I did. I might have. So I'm shooting it out to the leaders right now. That way they can monitor it. Anytime before the live chat ends, you can provide those answers. And then see if you can win those Guggenheim scissors and some needles as well. So give me just a moment. I'm shooting it out right now. I'd love to play some music for you, but I can't do that right now. So hold on a second. My phone is moving so slow today. Maybe I'm floating in the ocean with Mindy right now. I must be floating in the ocean with Mindy in the North Atlantic Ocean or wherever she said she is, because my phone is just moving like a snail, really, really slow. Good gravy, Aloe80. Feel like I should lift up one foot off the ground and face east or something and see if that helps. I don't know if it will or not. All right. Got to get it to all my leaders. Just give me a moment here. Okay, so I've sent it out to Emma, to Susie. I've sent it out to Candido. Let me scroll. Sending it out to Jenny now. All right, still scrolling. Now I'm sending it to Christine in Canada. And I'm not going to send it to Veronica, and I can't send it to Bill because Bill has a flip phone, and I don't think he can get text messages. Bill's not able to get text messages as far as I understand. So I think I've sent it to everybody. If I missed anybody, or if you're in the live stream and you're part of the leadership team and you didn't get a copy of the answers that I asked about, the serial number for Mary's machine, the other featherweights that are under the AK serial letter prefix as well, and then finally, how many machines were made under the AK serial letter prefix. If you're one of those leaders and you didn't get it, please text me straight away, and I'll shoot it out to you right now. But I think I got it out to everybody that needs to get it, and that way you can see if anyone's going to jump in. And I'm not making it easy because there's a lot at stake, and I hope it's worth the effort. Okay. Let's see here. And again, if you're brand new to sewing or whatever, you can go to ismax.net, where you can look up the AK serial letter prefix. And then there's other resources online where you can look up the number of machines that were made underneath the various serial letter prefixes, including the AK one. So hopefully that helps. Okay. All right. So I'm going to leave that up to the leaders now. They can let me know at the end if we had anybody that, yeah, and you guys know me now. You know me by now. If anyone jumps in and they give it a good effort, even if they don't nail it, if the leaders would let me know that, and I want to at least offer to send them a concessionary type prize anyway for trying. I don't want them to try and then not get anything. I want to send them something. So I'll let the leaders let me know if anyone steps in and gives it a go. If not, we'll hang on to this stuff and we'll give it away. Or the leaders can give the needles away at a future live stream. So, yeah. Okay, let me close that window. You get a pair of scissors. I like the way Tim thinks. I think Tim might be from Texas originally. He's like, go big or go home. I did that, and I still am way behind Tim. And you might not be aware of this, but I did a calico contest involving featherweights at the last major contest I did, and I had one winner, obviously, that could win a custom painted featherweight. And that person ultimately ended up having to bow out because of a conflict as far as their submission. So we ended up still having two winners, one of whom is in the live chat right now. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, that's Susie from Minnesota. And then the other gal is from the West Coast. But I did pull an Oprah with that contest, and you can go back and look at that video when I did that major contest. I was only obligated to award one featherweight, only one, to the grand prize winner. When that grand prize winner, because of a conflict with their submission, had to bow out, I could have legally said, okay, you're really sorry, you two runners up. I'll send you something, but I'm not going to send you a featherweight. Are you crazy? Well, I'm crazy, and I announce it publicly all the time. And so I did pull an Oprah with that contest, if you happen to catch that. And Susie and others were just like jaw dropped, falling over, propped against the wall. Did I really just win a featherweight from the workshop? The answer is yes, you did. And I still have to fulfill that. And I've got so much going on right now, as Susie and Emma and others know. I'm still trying to do the catch up to get that done, but I haven't forgotten. So yeah, I like playing Oprah, although I don't have Oprah's resources. Unfortunately, I don't have Oprah's resources. Nope, don't have Oprah's resources. All right, I'm just checking something real quick. I'm going to do a real quick audio check on the live stream like I do usually. Make sure that we're getting good audio, making sure our video feed is good. I did do a speed test before, and I've explained this before. If any of you watching, I know some of you do, like Bill from Minnesota. Bill is the one that has the beautiful daughter, Lisa. They got some of Susie's hats, etc. And any rate, Bill does live streaming as well. And when you're live streaming like this, the download that everyone talks about, how fast is your download? How fast is your download? How fast is your download? Doesn't matter at all when you're live streaming. It's the opposite. It's the upload, because you're uploading video to a server at YouTube and it has to be very fast. So the upload test I did this morning was like, whoa, yeah, baby. So I'm hoping we don't have any issues with audio or video during this live stream today. I hope it's nice and clean, and you can see things clearly and you can hear things clearly and all the blah, blah, blah. So, all right, I'm going to do a quick check, and then we're going to move forward with this chromium recoding. I'll try to demonstrate that as best as I can during the live stream, but it'll at least give you a baseline to try it at home yourself and see what results you get. All right, skip the commercial. Skip the commercial. Oh yeah, we're getting some really good feed today. Scott, why are you repeating what I'm saying? Scott, why are you repeating what I'm saying? Stop doing that. Scott, why are you repeating what I'm saying? Stop doing that. Hey, come on now. I'm going to have the leaders put you into a timeout. Hey, come on now. I'm going to have the leaders put you into a timeout. No, they're going to put you in a timeout. No, they're going to put you in a timeout. All right, stop laughing, you weirdo. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. I like echoes, don't you? You remember as a kid, if you didn't do this as a kid, you got to do it as an adult. But you would find some sort of an echo chamber. It might be a big room. It might be a tunnel. It might be a cave. It might be an aqua, whatever they call that, like by reservoirs where they got these huge pipes that are ways of absorbing rainfall in that. But I thought echoes were the most fascinating thing when I was a kid. And even today, like when I was living in Europe for those 3 years with the military, and I had a chance to go down to Switzerland and be around some really big mountains, I would find every opportunity to make echoes. They're just fascinating, aren't they? They're just fascinating. I think they're fascinating. I'm easily entertained, though. Probably easily entertained. Okay, I'm almost ready. Finally, I'm almost ready. Almost ready. Yeah. Now, Alex just said 300-second timeout. Some of you know this. Alex is really busy with his family, but I'm still determined. I'm still determined, Alex, just so you know. And I know the leaders are determined as well because they all approve of adding you to the leadership team. So then you could throw someone into a justified 300-second timeout. Right now, you can't do it. But if you were on the leadership team, if it's warranted, you could get away with it. Yeah, you could. Ha-ha! Yeah. But we usually don't do that because it's our family. We take care of our family, right? We take care of our family. All right. Give me just a second. One other thing to do, and then I'll demonstrate this chromium recoding type thing. What-you-call-y thing. I'm still here. I'm just doing something really quick. Still here. Feel like I should be doing like da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 dun. Yeah, that didn't last long enough. I was almost done. Almost done. Okay, I'm going to put the phone to the side now. I've checked what I needed to check. I've verified what I needed to verify. I've sung a little ditty song. I've poked the bear in California with Alex telling him again that we want him to be on the leadership team. And when he's ready, we're ready for him. Yeah, we are. Okay. All right. Let's see here what we got. What do we got? 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 See what we got. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? Okay. So let's shift away from Mary's Featherweight for just a moment. And let me try to demonstrate this. I'll do my best to demonstrate it very quickly on the live stream. The first thing we have to do, and it is safe for a chromium coating, is we need to clean the surface, get all the oils from my hands and other things like that off of this plate that has been horrifically damaged. I'll show that to you again. So we're going to clean it with a little bit of window cleaner. A little bit of window cleaner is what we're going to use to try to get the oils and the stuff off of the surface. So I just sprayed a little bit on there. I'm going to try to rub the front of it. Really, the front is what we're most concerned about, right? The other side is going to be facing down. We're not as concerned about that. But I usually clean the whole shebang anyway, right? Clean the whole shebang. And then dry it off get it nice and dry. Because water and paint do not mix. And we're going to be using a special paint that you could pick up at your local hardware store. You can pick it up at probably Walmart or the equivalent. And it generally does a very good job. It generally does a very good job. So we've got this nice and clean now, I think. It's also dry. And yours might not be as severe as this one. Yours might be more like Mary's was, where you had some of that copper base metal showing through around the feed dog area opening and around the needle. But it was still, to me, it was distracting. So we're going to see if we can make it better. Again, I'm going to be doing this rather expeditiously, rather quickly. So I spent quite a bit more time on Mary's yesterday than I'll be doing now, but I think you'll get the idea of what's possible, and you might be able to apply it to one of your machines where you've got a feed dog plate or a throat plate that has some of that base metal kind of showing through. Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to take this over here, and then I'm going to move the camera. Going to do one other thing. I'm not wanting to set a fire during the live stream, so I've got to do one other thing. Let's see if I can move this over. Carefully move the camera over. You see that? I think you can see that. Yeah. I already had a piece cut. Give me just a second here. Okay, I got another idea. I was looking for a piece of tin. That I could put underneath this because I've got to do something. We're going to do something instead. I'll just go ahead and dampen this down. Set this down very carefully with water around it. And you'll see why I added the water in just a little bit. I think you will. Okay, so the paint that I'm going to be using, it's a metallic finish, rich, shiny, fast drying. It's really not fast drying at all, but this is the stuff that we're going to be using. And there certainly are alternatives and other brands. I don't own any stock with Rust-Oleum. Don't own any stock at all with Rust-Oleum. But I've had some good success with this stuff. And this is what I'm using. And if you're trying to see the lid, it almost looks like it's golden, but it actually comes out silver. So this is what we're going to be trying to use to try to tidy this up a little bit. Oh, I forgot one step. Hold on a second. See, when you're doing stuff on camera, you don't think about it as much. The thing that I failed to do that I should have done is, let me move my chair over as well, is this is 2000 grit sandpaper. 2000 grit sandpaper. So let me move this box to the side for just a second and go over this surface. We're going to have to clean it one more time. I should have thought about that over at the other workbench, but I didn't. So again, 2000 grit sandpaper. What we're trying to do is just make sure we have a nice, even, smooth surface for this coating that we're going to put on to do its magic. Notice I'm going back and forth across here. I could just as easily go one direction, but when we're trying to even the surface out, it's not as critical as when you're polishing or cleaning a surface. When you're cleaning a surface, you go in one direction. You can see, if you look carefully, you can see the stuff that's sticking to this 2000 grit sandpaper. Okay, that's going to be, again, I'm not taking as much time to do this as I did on Mary's, but you get the idea. So now we're going to do the same cleaning process again with a little bit of this window cleaner, a little bit of this Windex. We want to get any of that dust off of there that is a product of that sandpaper. Get it nice and clean, get it nice and dry again. And you can certainly use a higher grit sandpaper than 2000. I think they have sandpaper now. I don't even know. If someone wants to Google real quick and share in the live chat, what is the highest grit sandpaper right now? I know the stuff I use in the paint shop is right around 5,000. But they actually have grit sandpapers higher than that, I believe. So maybe someone can look that up for us. Okay, so we got it nice and clean now. I'm going to avoid touching the surface that we're going to apply the paint to so that we can get that paint to adhere evenly. Our water is still down there. As a matter of fact, I can dab that up a little bit as long as that's damp. As long as it's damp. We don't need to have a river flowing down there. Okay, so we got that back into position again now. So don't miss the step that I did. Make sure that before you apply the paint that you use a high grit sandpaper, at least 2000 grit, and then clean it with that Windex type material. Make sure it's nice and dry. And when you're spraying this paint, it's a metallic finish paint. You want to do it from probably about 8 to 10 inches away. You don't want to get real close, and you want to do it in light little strokes to cover that surface. And you're not going to build it up real heavy. You're going to, just put enough on there to be the equivalent of the original chromium finish, which again is probably about 1/5 of the thickness of a piece of paper. I just realized the microphone is all the way over there. I should probably move the microphone just a little bit closer, which I just did. Also give your paint a really, really good shaking as well. Move the laptop over a little bit so that it doesn't suck any of the paint in. So again, about 8 to 10 inches away, I'm just going to kind of go over that. That's going to be real close to the correct amount. And again, this is not going to be to the degree of perfection that I did for Mary's, because we're doing it kind of on a live stream quickly. And now you'll see why I added that damp surface underneath, because I'm going to hit this a little bit with this torch until I can put it on a block and hit it harder with a torch. And this torch, again, is going to be burning at about 1,000 degrees. Just trying to get it cured enough that I can pick this up and then put it on top of a piece of metal and hit it harder than I did before. Move that out of the way now. We're going to put this over here, this weight. See if I can get you even a little bit closer. And this stuff says it's fast drying. It says it's fast drying, but it really isn't. For this application to completely dry, you're looking at probably around 24 hours, especially because we've had a lot of rain and it's been more humid, right? It's been more humid. So we're using this torch that's 1,000 degrees to quickly wick out that moisture that's the paint and to cure it rapidly. And also using this high heat makes that surface much harder and resistant to scratching. So that's why we're doing that as well. And I'm putting this torch probably about, it's fairly close, probably about 2 to 3 inches away. And it really is a torch, see? Aha! So remember how it looked. Remember how it looked before those deep scratches. And now we've gone over it with a 2000 grit sandpaper. We've recoated it with this Rust-Oleum product. And now we're quick curing it and hardening it with a 1,000 degree torch. All right, I'm going to stop there. I would do additional heat treating to it, and then I would also let it set overnight so that it's completely dry. And I'm going to just make sure that I don't burn my hand when I grab it. But again, remember what it looked like before. It was horrifically ugly and was not fitting to be on a Princess of Singers. And now, imagine that on a machine. it's going to present much better. And again, I did this rather quickly. I didn't spend nearly the amount of time on this that I did with Mary's. And Mary's eventually will have to be recoated again. Eventually, it will have to be recoated, just like any finish it wears, because you're constantly dragging that material over the top of it. You're constantly dragging the material over the top of it, but it will last quite a while, especially the more that you harden it using a torch. So you don't need a paint shop. You don't need a paint shop to do certain things to enhance the beauty of your vintage sewing machine. You can pick up a can of this Rust-Oleum or a similar product. Pick up a can of this Rust-Oleum metallic finish. And again, this is going to be a golden silver type. These torches are readily available on eBay, Amazon, and other places like that. They run on butane. They're like a butane lighter, basically. And they last a good long time. They last a really, really good long time. And you can imagine the difference now when you're looking at the finished product compared to what we had. And again, we did it very, very fast. We did it very, very fast compared to the amount of time that I spent on Mary's yesterday. But we still got, I think, a very good result when you compare it to what we had before. So anyway, just a quick little tip for you so that you can address some of the aesthetic things on your machines. Chrome's a big deal, right? I think some of you refer to it as the jewelry. We want our jewelry to look good on our vintage machines, and now you have a possible solution to do it at home or to do it in your workshop, so you can tidy up a faceplate. You could do this to a faceplate. You could do it with a feed dog cover. You could do it with other chromium appointments on the machine. Just always remove it from the machine, obviously, and then take the precautions that I did with, you know, if you're going to do it inside of a box like this so that you don't spray this stuff all over the place. Do it in a box like this. Dampen that surface down so you don't set the box on fire. Yeah, don't set the box on fire. But you can see we did that fairly quickly. I took a little bit of extra time, and now we've got a chromium finish that I think is befitting. It's befitting of a princess of singers. So, at any rate, there you go. All right. And definitely get a torch, because if you try to air dry this, it's not going to have a hard enough finish to stand up against material being drug over it and stuff. So definitely use a torch very carefully. All right. There we go. Okay, so let's finally get into this machine. But I hope you found that helpful, because anyone can acquire a machine that has damaged chromium, or they can damage it themselves inadvertently, and it's good to have a possible solution to address that. So. I've got like two coats of wax on Mary's machine right now, but I really feel like I'll probably put some more wax on this before Mary picks it up on Monday. I think it's Monday. Because this had a lot of pigmentation issues with varnishing, filth, and just all kinds of stuff. And once it gets into the paint, it's really difficult, really difficult to get it out. It's really challenging. I still see some spots on here that I missed. Still see a few spots. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Pretty doggone good. Okay. So we got a bunch of sew-offs that we can possibly do today. Oh, I got to move the microphone back. There it is. Got to move the microphone back. There we go. So some of the sew-offs I have prepared today is our vinyl paper. I think this is fun stuff to stitch down. Again, this is available at the Dollar Tree. You can buy it in a roll. I think it's like a chunk of vinyl paper. It's about 12 inches by 12 inches or something like that. And then we got some of this velvet. We've got bubblegum material. We've got some of this denim that Emma sent from Florida. We've got genuine elk hide. A couple pieces of that, actually. And we've got saddle grade leather. I don't know why I have so much elk hide. I've got elk hide, and I only have one piece of saddle grade leather. I'm probably gonna have to cut another piece because I want to stitch down 2 layers of these heavier leathers with Mary's machine, just like I did on the 222K that's heading to Texas, to demonstrate again that a properly optimized machine is able to sew leather. It's able to do it not as a one-off, but continuously if you maintain the machine properly. Because again, while featherweights are only 11 pounds because they're aluminum cast machines, they also are forged steel from bobbin to balance wheel. They're built incredibly well. So as long as you maintain them properly, you're able to get away with sewing leather on them quite often, as often as you'd like. And there's not going to be any consequences as long as you maintain the machine properly. Yeah. Okay. So if anyone has any strong preferences, I think we'll probably start with cotton. But if anyone has any strong preferences on the material order, especially if the owner has a strong preference on the material order that she would like to see us sew, I think I have a text message. If there's any preference on let's see here. Oh, you don't know this, but before the live stream today, I was scrambling around getting a few more things ready, along with having a customer come to the workshop as well. Her name is Linda, really a sweet gal, and she has a Kenmore sewing machine, and she was referred by Joanne's, and it was funny as heck. Let me tell you real quick. Linda, when she brought the machine, she said, "Scott, I feel like I'm kind of ostracized. I feel like I'm kind of ostracized by my sewing and by my retreat people because they don't want to sit by me. They don't want to sit by me because my machine is too loud. But I don't really have I don't have the budget to pay for a complete." Hold on one second. That's Susie with a question. I don't really have the budget to pay for one of your comprehensive services on the machine, the 150 step. So I said, well, let me see if I can do a condensed version of that, and I'll target the area of the machine that seems to be having the most issues, and see if I can quiet it down for you, so that you don't feel like you know, the you know, you don't feel like you're being rejected by your group because your machine is too noisy. In fact, one of the people that sits closest to her at a lot of these retreats actually bought her some sort of a little carpet or something like that to put underneath her, to put underneath Nancy's machine, or Linda's machine, excuse me, to put underneath Linda's machine, thinking that that would make the machine quieter, but it didn't help at all. And I discovered pretty quickly what the issue was, and I addressed it. So anyway, real quick, I'll just show you Linda's note, and it's short and sweet. So that is a good thing. She's no longer being rejected, hopefully, by her group. They'll welcome her into the circle now, closer, instead of pushing her out in the nosebleed section because her machine is too loud. I had to laugh because I actually saw the carpet in there that this other semi-snobby person gave her, probably with good intentions, but still, I mean, that's kind of not cool. So, at any rate, I thought I'd share that real quick. Well, Linda, if you're watching right now, which you might be, I'm glad we could take care of your Kenmore like that, and that you're not going to be rejected by your quilting retreat people anymore. Okay, so a note from Susie. Kathy is asking if you use Canada wax. Joel and SL are asking if a clear coat could be added over the paint on the needle plate. Okay, question one, do I use Canada wax? I don't. On this machine, for example, I use different waxes. I'll show you real quick. Where is it? Okay. And these are not solutions when it comes to the stuff that I do in the paint shop. Let's see here. So usually if I get a machine, if you've ever seen the machines that have a lot of buildup on the surface, it's a combination of old oil and just a combination of things. It usually kind of looks like a yellowish, brownish color, and it's just caked over the machine. It's just nasty looking. If I get a machine like that, I might start the cleaning, and you have to be real careful again, just like chromium finishes. Just like chromium, you can't see that other one. There we go. Just like chromium finishes, you have to be incredibly careful because generally most machines that come from the factory, they're only going to have about 2 layers of clear coat on them, and then you're down to the base paint. So you don't want to cut through too quickly and too aggressively, or you lose the clear coat, and then all of a sudden you're down to the base coat and you've got nothing to shine, because it's the clear coat surface that allows you to shine. It's not the base coat underneath it. So, but I will use sometimes the bug and tar remover. It's a little bit more aggressive. I'll use it with some cosmetic pads, maybe some cotton balls. And again, when I'm cleaning a surface of a machine, I go in a single direction like this, very, very gently, layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. So I'll use something. Let me actually show you because I'm visual. I think you are too. I'll use something like this or like this, and realize that even though you think of cotton balls as real soft, they're not. They can be very, very aggressive if you repeat the process too much in taking that clear coat off, and then you're going to be stuck. So just be real gentle in your approach going over it. If you're starting with something like this, to go after, a machine that's just caked It's just caked in varnishing and old oil and all kinds of junk that's smothering the paint surface and the clear coat surface. Just work at it with this. And then this also is another option instead of this turtle wax stuff. This Zymol or whatever it is with the umlaut. These two little dots in Germany are called an umlaut. So Zymul or something like that. Cleaner wax. And there's different types of Zymol stuff. There's a cleaner wax like this that you can use to have an impact directly on getting that surface prepared for wax, to get it prepared for wax. It's a great first step. And this is going to be a little bit more gentle than this stuff. This stuff you have to be really, really careful with. Hold on a second. Ooh, a restricted number. That was I just got a restricted number. Do you ever get restricted numbers where it pops up and it doesn't give you the number? It just says restricted. And you're like, holy mackerel. Is that President Biden calling me about a sewing machine issue? President Biden, sir, check your bobbin, change your needle, check your thread. And you know what? If you're still stuck, give Emma a call, give Susie a call, give Jenny a call, give Christine a call, give one of the other people a call, because I got true confessions for you, sir. I am a Republican. And so I'm probably going to tell you to set up your bobbin wrong just to be a pickle, just to be a pickle. So go to one of the other leadership team members. They might be giving you better information than me, sir. So anyway, I have no idea who the restricted call was from. No idea. No idea at all. That was weird. Whoa. All right. So this is going to be a little bit gentler option to try to get that surface prepared. I'm looking around the room to see if I can see a machine that would be benefiting from that. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't see anything really, really bad. Let's see here. Well, maybe this 201. This is not really that bad. See if I can spin my chair around and show you. This is not really the extreme. This is not the extreme. Make sure I'm covering the customer's information. This is a Centennial. This is a Centennial 201-2, and it belongs to John Hartzell. John Hartzell from the great state of Connecticut. John Hartzell from the great state of Connecticut. And so, but you can see a little bit of that in the paint here. Some of this is going to be dust and dirt. But when you get those that have almost like a yellowing on it, it's yellowish brown and it's just sticky goop. That's where some of that bug and tar or that Zymol, the Zymol stuff would be really beneficial. This machine isn't that bad off, but I've had them in the workshop where they're really, really nasty. And you've got to break that old varnishing and that old gunk off before you can have success in getting to the clear coat and starting to bring that shine back again. But in lieu of that, let me bring one other one out too. Sorry about that. This is another option as well. I'll just show this to you real quick. This is also a Zymol product as well. This is like a pre-wax cleaner. Both of these are cleaners. But this stuff is a little bit more intense in getting some of that gunk off of the paint and clear coat so you can begin to restore that shine. But again, with any of these, you've got to be incredibly careful that it's so easy to get impatient because it takes a long time. If you've got buildup on that machine from 30, 40, 50 years, you're not going to be able to, like I did with that, you're not going to be able to do like I did with that plate. Where is it? You're not going to be able to do like I did with that plate and zap it. And all of a sudden we've got a plate that was ungodly ugly. And now we've got a plate that we could put on a sewing machine, you know, rapid fire. You're going to have to be patient if you decide to try to restore that surface and get all that stuff off. So one of these three is a great product to consider. A lot of people favor the Zmol or Zumol or Z. Umlaut is ew. I sound like I'm probably, they're going to put a net over me if I keep doing that, but ew. So Zmu, maybe it's like Zmu. I have no idea. You can Google it and see how badly I'm pronouncing it. But this stuff and this stuff is favored by a lot of professional restorers. They really love this stuff. And it's pricey. I think it was Joel or someone else told me I talked about this long time ago on a live stream. And they went out and started to price it. And they were like, holy mackerel, let's take out a second mortgage on the house, honey. Yeah, this stuff is pricey. This is a lot less expensive. And then for a quick cleanup, this is what I used on Mary's machine. This is a good cleaner wax combo, almost like the body wash shampoo stuff that they sell at the stores, where you can use it on your hair, you can use it on your body, you can use it whatever. This is a cleaner and a wax combined by this company, McGuire's or whoever they are. This is a great all-purpose wax and cleaner. It removes some of that stuff off the surface, and then it lays down a nice wax coat on top of that. Yeah. So that's a good product. And then if you've got, like on Mary's machine, I haven't used this stuff yet. And there's a lot of companies that sell this stuff, a lot of companies. But this is a cleaner, it's a finishing compound, which tells you right away, realize whenever you see finishing compound, that's telling you that there's some grit. There's some grit in here that could be damaging to clear coat if you overuse it. So if you get any of this stuff, use it very carefully so you don't break through that clear coat and you're down to base paint. But this is designed to also fill in scratches on a machine as well. It's a turtle wax, clean finish, polishing compound, blah, blah, blah. And it says it's a formula that removes, it really doesn't remove. It does to some extent because it's got that gritty compound in there, and you're kind of taking the clear coat down just a little bit. If it's a real light scratch, you're basically, with this compound, you're removing some of that clear coat to get rid of the scratch. But again, clear coat, depending on, you don't know how many layers are on it. If I do one in the workshop, it's usually in the paint shop, excuse me. If I do one in the paint shop, it's usually a minimum of 5 layers. But again, most of the machines that left the factory for Singer, whether it's Kilbowie, Scotland, or whether it's Anderson, South Carolina, whether it's what am I thinking? The other one. You can tell I was up too late last night. Elizabethport, New Jersey. Any of those plants, or even the plants in France or anywhere around the world, they're generally going to be laying down just 2 layers of clear coat on top of that base finish. So you can cut through with something like this. You can cut through those 2 layers of clear coat really fast. So just be real cautious with this stuff. But it says it removes, what does it say? It removes light to medium scratches and imperfections. Also, if you get that swirling, if you've ever had that happen to your car, where you take it to a detailing place, and unlike Jose, who really is smart on how to do cars, Jose's the gentleman that is right across from the workshop here in Oconto, and he has a detailing business. Other places, they'll hit it with the buffers, and they create like a swirl in your paint. This stuff is designed to try to mitigate that. So kind of a before and after. Call operators now. They're waiting. Yeah. So a lot of stuff you can use. These are some of the things I have in the workshop. In all honesty, I don't use these things very often. I do a lot of my paint mitigation down at the paint shop. But these are products that I certainly have used. I've had some success with. And if you want to pick some of them up, you can try it yourself too. Yeah. Okay. Let me get all this stuff out of the way and let's move forward with Mary's machine. Okay. Since I have the machine here right now, and I've got a couple of pads, I'm just going to show you real quick, and it's not going to be perfect, but if I'm doing a quick touch-up on a machine, one of the things you can do is you spritz just a little bit of water, like I'm doing right here. Move those sew-offs. You spritz just a little bit of water. You can see the droplets of water right there. Just a little bit. And then you add a little bit of the wax. Feel like I'm doing Morse code right now. If anyone knows Morse code, tell me if I'm saying anything. There we go. And then now we have the wax. We've got a little bit of water. Now I'm going to go a single direction. And I'm not applying a lot of pressure. And you don't want to leave it on there too long. So I'm going to almost wipe it off straight away. And when you're wiping it off, I usually start with one direction and then I kind of change it up a little bit. And when you wipe it off, don't apply a huge amount of pressure. Just go over it hard enough to get that wax off. Mary's machine really could benefit from a trip down to the paint shop and getting some new clear coating on it. The clear coating is getting pretty thin on her machine, but this wax will help to make that clear coat a little bit more lasting. And then you can follow up if you want to. You can follow up that wax with just a tiny little bit of sewing machine oil. And what it does is it keeps that paint and clear coat nice and soft. Because the reason that paint has issues is it starts to dry out too much. And then it can start to get crackling and all kinds of other stuff going on with it. And that's part of the reason that Bill and others that work with me, if we get contacted by someone and they're asking about cleaning the paint on their sewing machine, we always right away will point them to starting with sewing machine oil. Because sewing machine oil is safe for the paint surface. And again, I'm being very, very gentle on the surface right now and touching it. Very, very gentle. So you can see, if you could see that in the shot before, the bed had a little bit of a chalkiness left on it still after I cleaned it last night. And now we've gone over it with the sewing machine oil. It helps to preserve and protect the clear coat, the patina, and it also gives you a nice finished look to the machine as well. So you can do that on your machines also. You can wax it, and then you can follow up with just a little bit of, just a tiny little bit. You saw a little I put on there, just a little bit of sewing machine oil, and that oil will give it a nice finished appearance. So when you walk into that quilting retreat, when you walk into that class, everyone will look at your machine and go, "Woo, wow, nice." Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I'm going to retreat. I'll retreat to Mary's plate again. I can see that it's got just a little bit of a imperfection on there. At any rate, a couple little tips. Hopefully they're helpful to you. A couple little tips on just trying to improve the look of your machine a little bit. Okay, so let's start. Let's actually sew a little something on this. Been running almost 2 hours and I haven't done a lick of sewing. I've tried to set things on fire and I've done other fun stuff to give you some ideas and information, but we haven't actually sewed on Mary's machine yet. So let's actually do that. And our setup today, just so you know, our setup is we've got a Schmitz 9014 leather needle. I decided to put a leather needle in today. We've got a leather needle. And again, when you're putting this needle into the socket, make sure that the flat side is to the left, and then you're going to be threading this featherweight from right to left, So, and the bobbin, when you're putting the bobbin and the bobbin case together, bobbin case here, bobbin here, have the thread coming over the top. So once you get that bobbin in and you thread that bobbin case and you pull that thread, that bobbin is going to be turning clockwise. As if it's in the machine, that bobbin will be turning clockwise, not counterclockwise, okay? All right, a lot of blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go. That needle up. And again, when you're threading from right to left, draw that thread to the left so that you're not working against the normal flux of the needle, if that makes sense. All right, we'll do a stitch line of shorter stitches as well. And right now I've got the presser foot pressure turned up fairly high. This is our presser foot pressure right here to control feed factor. I've got it turned down a pretty good distance because I'm anticipating doing the leather, but we could certainly back this off a little bit once we get to doing that velvet sewing in a little bit. I'll leave it the way it is right now. But just so you know, presser foot pressure, if you're brand new to sewing, is really critical when it comes to getting proper stitch presentation. In other words, if you have that stitch length selector on 6 to 7 stitches per inch and you have inadequate presser foot pressure, those stitches are going to be much shorter because it's not feeding that material over the feed dogs and underneath the foot properly. It's allowing that material to slide a little bit. So I'll just give you a real quick walk around the machine. Bobbin winding right here, obviously. You're going to rotate this into the rim of the balance wheel. It's actually going to make contact with the belt. On the featherweight, it doesn't actually go on the rim per se. It goes on the belt itself. And you disengage the clutch on this side of the machine right there. And then when you're done winding the bobbin, you can just push this back up where we have it right now. And for setting it up for winding, you'll have it threaded just like you can see it right now from here to here, across the machine, underneath this tensioner, and then straight up to the bobbin here. And yeah, you'll have a success winding. Stitch length right here. Right now we're set right around 6-7 stitches per inch. We've got this if we need it, but kind of like I joked around on the 222K. I don't use this. It's designed to kind of lock the stitch length into place so that it doesn't move inadvertently, but that's not likely to happen. But Singer gave us this an option to kind of screw it in, and then it holds that in position so that it doesn't drop down below that point. And then if you want to do shorter stitching, you can move this up into the range of up to 30 stitches per inch. or you can continue up and then go all the way into the reverse sewing as well. This is going to be the reverse region right up in this area here. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can see that. Yeah. And then obviously when it was in the workshop, I also took out the incandescent bulb on Mary's machine, put in a nice bright LED bulb. You can kind of see that in the shot. It does an excellent job of lighting up the bed, but I'll probably shut it off. Probably shut it off during the live stream because it creates a little bit of a glare, doesn't it? Creates a little bit of a glare. Now look at that bed. See, we didn't spend a lot of time. We didn't spend a lot of time on Mary's bed, but if you look at it from the side, and again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but with a combination of wax and then also going over it to kind of keep that nice and supple, we added just a little bit of sewing machine oil. And now all of a sudden we've got quite an attractive princess, don't we? We no longer have a dirty princess. We now have a princess that's ready for her debutante ball. So yeah. What else? Lots of service points on the machine. Obviously, if you don't know where this little pretty little doily is that belongs to Mary, you can take that screw out, and there's worm gears to service in there. There's main shaft. There's pitman arm, and all kinds of stuff that you can service on there as well. So I guess I could talk about the threading, but I think most of you know how to thread a featherweight. You come off the top, and I'm obviously using Gutermann 100% polyester thread today from Joann's over in Marinette, Wisconsin. And on the weekend, I say this all the time, I'm giving a shameless plug to Joann's, but if you go in on the weekend, you buy 3 of these Gutermann thread spools and you get 2 free. Buy 3, get 2 free. So coming off the top, you're threaded from here through this thread guide. And Mary has this interesting little rubber piece on her thread guide. I left it on there because she had it on there already. And then with the presser foot lever, this is your lever in the back. With your presser foot lever in the up position, you're going to go ahead and thread it around the tension discs. Take it through this check spring right here. Draw that check spring up so the thread ends up saddled in that little spot right there. Hopefully you can see that. Saddled in that spot. And then you bring that thread. I'm moving the material all over the place. You bring that thread then behind this thread guide right here up to your take-up arm. Thread it from right to left. And you have a thread guide here on the faceplate. Another thread guide there. Another thread guide down here just above the needle. So you got 2 thread guides in real close succession right here. And then finally, you're going to come down to the needle, which again, for our purposes today is a 90-14 leather needle. And you're going to thread that featherweight needle from right to left. It's not really a featherweight needle. It's a Schmitz needle, but you know what I meant. Yeah, it's a Schmitz needle. So yeah, that's the threading on the featherweight. Yeah, kind of cool. Okay, let me get that material back in place again. And I think I heard a text message come in from Emma, unless I'm mistaken. I believe I did. Yeah, that's better with the light off, isn't it? That's the light on, light off. Yeah, we'll leave the light off for our purposes. For our purposes. Okay, let me check that text message, and then we'll stitch down with another stitch row or stitch column. And we're going to be adjusting that stitch length as well. I'll make it quite a bit shorter. Probably around 12 to 15 stitches per inch is what we'll lay down next. Okay, I saw that there was a text message. Oh, Susie had asked another question. I didn't answer it. I talked about all the waxes and all that. I talked about all the wax stuff. I showed that to you just a little bit ago. After you do the process on the needle plate, can you cover it with clear coat? The answer is you can try to do that, but here's the thing about paint. when it comes to certain types of paints, clear coat will react to them, especially if it's commercial grade clear coat. It has a chemical reaction with certain types of paint. And that's why when I'm in the paint shop, I have to use a special type of commercial paint that does not have a chemical reaction with the clear coat. So you can do a test case and see, but if you use some of the over-the-counter stuff, I'll just show this to you real quick. If you use some of the over-the-counter stuff, it's basically a, let's see if I can find some. I'll find a couple of them because I've done some testing myself. And after you use that process that I showed you with the torch, there's a lot of options out there. A lot of options for clear coating over that painted surface to try to preserve and protect it as we would with any base paint. There are enamel based ones. I don't think this is enamel. Let's see. Oh, this is enamel. Okay. So there are acrylic enamels, and there are other types of clear coating type materials that are going to give you the opportunity to cover up that paint. Give it a test case and try it, see how it works. Enamel paints are going to be a little bit more friendly. They're going to be a little bit more friendly towards that throat plate than some of the I'm totally blanking. Like I said, I was up late last night. Than some of the other options. Hold on a second. Let me answer this text message real quick. Sorry. Here we go. Still live streaming right now, comma, will reach out once I'm finished. Okay. So at any rate, out of the paint, out of the clear coat type options, acrylic is going to be the easiest one to work with if you're trying to coat that that plate, wherever I put that plate. If you're going to try to coat this plate after you've gone through that torch process I showed you, number one, even though we're curing it with a torch, I would let it dry for probably a couple of days at least before you try, and then go really, really light on the coat. The benefit of an acrylic-based type covering like this for plastic, metal, blah, 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 and it's a gloss clear coat on this stuff, is acrylic, you can go layer upon layer, and it melts into the other layers. Acrylic does that. Acrylic, you can add one coat on top of another, and it's going to basically melt into the other coat. It's going to blend in very nicely. If you try using a different type of non-acrylic enamel, something that's going to be a single coat and you're done. If you try to add additional coats to that, it's going to cause a crackling because the coats will not melt into the other ones. They'll start to create havoc on the surface of that patina. So if you're looking for the easiest solution and you want to try to do it on your plate once you've done this, and you got a nice base coat on here, and it's cured well, I would go with an acrylic-based enamel. It's going to be the most friendly to this, but again, go incredibly light on it. I only tried this a couple of times, this triple thick crystal glaze, blah, 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 and I didn't have the greatest outcomes with it. So, but this company is pretty well known in the paint space, so they may have other options that I'm not aware of. But I would go with acrylic if you're going to try to coat this to give it a finished product. I had not done that on Mary's yet, and maybe that's something I'll try to do before she picks up the machine. So, yeah, okay. So that was a question that Susie had sent that someone had that I didn't answer, and hopefully that answer helps. Okay. Yeah, I'm all over the place with stuff today, aren't I? All kinds of info. All kinds of info. All right, so let's do this next stitch line now. Let's do this next stitch line. And again, I set the stitch length over here right at about 12 to 15 stitches per inch. So let's see how Mary's featherweight does with this stitch off. What I'm sewing on right now, I think I mentioned it a bit ago, but I don't know that I did. This is going to be 100% cotton with a stiffener. So, all right, here we go. Oh yeah, very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah, one of these days, I'm going to see if I can put together a whole live stream that is built around, this is once I step towards retirement. I'm going to do a complete comprehensive live stream on servicing, doing a comprehensive servicing on a featherweight that'll include mechanics, adjustments, preparing the paint surface, the whole shebang. I've had a number of people tell me that they paid to go to a seminar that was not cheap. They paid to go to a seminar that was not cheap, and at the seminar, the instructor, who apparently really a sweet gal, an older lady, who's gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. Something else I'm getting a text message on. Has gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. Did a fairly okay job in showing the different service points of the featherweight. And this is her thing. That's all she does, I think, is featherweights. Emma had told me about this class that she and her sister went to. But she doesn't cover servicing the motor. And I don't think you can service a sewing machine if you don't service the motor and the foot controller. So I'd like to do something once I get ready to hang my shingle up. I'd like to do a whole free live stream, bobbing the balance wheel, everything about the featherweight. Also dealing with certain blemishes on the paint, kind of like we did with the throat plate and that sort of thing. And then giving that as a resource to folks. I think that would be good. Okay. All right. This does not relate to what I'm doing right now. I get text messages all the time. Do you guys all of you get text messages too, I'm sure. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that text other people, aren't they? Yeah, lots of text messages. Okay. Let's look at this stitching finally. 2 hours. 2 hours and 25 minutes into this live stream, and we're looking at the stitching for the first time now. How silly is that? Well, we've covered a lot of information that's helpful. I hope you agree. Let's see, that's top stitch. Yep, that's top stitching. So top stitching on Mary's featherweight. Come on, camera. There we go. So our first row is going to be around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. The bottom row or the bottom column, depending on how I'm orientating this, bottom column is going to be around 12 to 15 stitches per inch. And again, realize we're sewing cotton. This is cotton, and we're using a leather needle. Not ideal at all, but we're doing it nonetheless. And I think that's some beautiful page 34 stitching. I hope you agree. Some beautiful page 34 stitching. Go like this as well. See if we can look at it vertically. And again, when you get into this scale of stitching right here, when you get into the scale of stitching of 12 stitches per inch or higher, sewing with a 90-14 needle, whether it's leather, universal, microtex, or anything in between, is not the best idea. When you get to this scale of stitching, even though I think the Mary's machine and the Schmitz leather needle 90-14 size did a really good job, we could certainly improve upon that if we went to a size 75-11 or even a size 70 needle. Maybe an embroidery needle, certainly a microtex needle would do quite well. I think our friends at Schmitz call those the super sharp needles, and that would do a really good job on this cotton. But all of that said, this leather needle really did lay down some beautiful stitching, even though it's 100% cotton. Yeah. And that again is our top stitching. So if we turn it over, now we look at our lock stitching. We've got equally beautiful stitching, which means we've got a really good cooperation right now between our bobbin case and our upper tension. They're friends right now. They're being friends and they're cooperating with each other. They're cooperating with each other. This again is our lock stitching. So our lock stitching and top stitching. Yeah, I'm impressed. I don't mean I'm impressed. That's probably the wrong thing to say. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased that I took that extra time with Mary's machine to take it through the final steps of that 150 step process instead of shortchanging it. Because any shortchanging you do in the servicing of a sewing machine, whether it's the motor, whether it's the mechanics, whether it's the electrical, whether it's the adjustments or whatever it is, or the sheer cleanliness of the machine, it's going to have an impact on stitch quality. You're not going to get this result without going through the proper process. You got to go through the proper process. So I'm going to set I don't know why I cut this so big. Isn't that ridiculous? I have no idea why I cut this so big. But anyway, beautiful stitching by Mary's Featherweight. And I don't know if anyone, all the information I gave you, if one of the leaders could send me a text and indicate whether or not anyone took a stab at trying to win the Guggenheim scissors. If anyone answered those questions that I threw out there, that would be awesome. I'm just curious if anyone did it. Yeah, if anyone did it. Oh, definitely a nap in the plan today. I'm planning on taking a nap today. Does anyone else? I know a lot of adults think that it's almost like you're a kid, but are there any other adults out there that take a nap in the late afternoon, kind of a siesta? Because I do that sometimes. Some of you know I've had issues with, well, maybe some of you don't know this. I've had issues with ulcers. I've had issues with ulcers. And so when you sometimes become anemic and you have a lower red blood count or whatever it is, you get tired a little bit easier sometimes, which I know for me is hard to believe that I get tired, but I do as the day progresses. And so I take a nap usually around somewhere between 2 to 4 p.m. Central time. And that doesn't mean you can't reach out at that time. It means I probably won't answer right away. But I take naps regularly as an adult or as an adult. So Okay, so Kathy King and Teresa both made guesses. So the leaders have the information. If Kathy King and Teresa didn't nail it with all the information I was looking for, I still would like those ladies, Kathy and Teresa, to reach out afterwards with their contact information, and I'll drop something in the mail as a concessionary type gift in lieu of the professional tailoring scissors, and acknowledge the fact that they tried. So, and if the leadership team wants to go a different direction with future contests, then either Susie or Emma or Jenny or Christine or whoever's present right now, if they want to reveal the correct answers, so it's a teaching tool to all those that are present and all those that will watch this as a video later, then please do that. Go ahead and type that information that I sent to you with that little screenshot. Type that information into the live chat, and that way folks that were wondering about those answers will have the answers. It's kind of like a teacher that gives a test and then never tells you which ones you got wrong. What kind of teacher is that? So we want to do it right in the classroom. And if Kathy and Teresa made a good effort, let's give them the answers, and let's give everyone else the answers too. I think that would be the right thing to do. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you to Kathy and Teresa for taking a swing at the bat. I really appreciate you doing that. And I know the rest of the leadership team does as well. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on with this sew-off process now on Mary's Singer 221, the featherweight. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and Candido. I forgot to mention Candido. Candido has a copy of the answers as well. And since Susie does a lot of the posting in live streams, maybe Susie will take a bow out and allow Emma or Candido to post those answers. Matter of fact, I'll make that request if Susie hasn't posted anything yet. If Susie hasn't posted anything yet, let Jenny or Candido or Emma share those answers that I asked about Mary's machine, about the other 221s underneath that letter prefix, blah, 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 and the total number of machines that would have been made under that letter prefix. So either Jenny, Emma, or Candido, if they can put their heads together and share that information, that would be awesome. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put my phone down again. Clean my glasses off. Again, it amazes me how dirty glasses can get, and I'm not really doing anything. You know what I mean? I'm not driving on a country road or something like that. I'm not driving on a country road. Yeah, you can see again now when you look at Mary's extension bed right here, especially when I do it like that. We didn't spend a lot of time. We put some of that wax down. We applied it again in a single direction. We removed that wax, and then we put just a little bit of sewing machine oil on the machine. And again, be careful about the sewing machine oils that you use. If in the container, like the old Singer sewing machine oil, if it looks yellow, if it has a yellow or a yellowish brown look to it, the sewing machine oil, don't use it, period, on your sewing machine, because that's the nasty stuff that creates a lot of that imperfection and blemishes and kind of that grittiness and crustiness on the sewing machine surface. It literally stains the clear coat. Don't use that yellow type sewing machine oil on your sewing machines at all. Don't do it. Use some of that crystal white stuff that I've shown you before that doesn't have any colorization to it, and it doesn't compromise the patina on your sewing machines. You get a beautiful finish like this with little or no effort, as long as you do it as I've suggested. Yeah. Okay. That didn't help at all. That made it worse. If anyone has tips on cleaning glasses, number one, you're probably going to tell me don't use a Kleenex like I do. Don't use a Kleenex, Scott. It's abrasive on your lenses. Don't do it. I'm going to do it anyway because they're right there. I can reach them. They're easy to get to. And this is the stuff I buy from the Dollar Tree. It generally works pretty well. Yeah, I'm not really smart when it comes to cleaning glasses. I'm not really smart. Not smart at all. Okay. Almost got it. Well, that's better than it was. That's better than it was. At least I can see more than I cannot see, if that even makes any sense. Okay. Ha-ha. So hopefully, I'm making a quick glance. I'm quickly glancing at the live chat. If one of the leaders can just confirm that the answers that I sent to you via text, that the answers have been posted in the live chat, Emma or Jenny or Candido, if you'll confirm that we did post the answers as to what I asked. So in other words, we posted about the birth date and the production group size on Mary's machine, the other featherweights that might also be in the AK letter serial prefix, and then that we shared how many sewing machines were made. And it's not just limited to the featherweight, it would include other sewing machines as well, under the AK letter serial prefix. So if someone could just confirm that we shared that info, I want to make sure that we do that so that someone watches this later, and they look at the live chat replay, they're going to see that information there. And it looks like Emma's asking if Candido will post it. If Candido's not able to post it, let me know. And I'll show. I'll show the actual sheet where I wrote the information down on that I sent to the leadership team. But yeah, either Jenny, it looks like Emma's asking Candido to do it, but maybe a combination of Candido, Jenny, whoever, or Christine. I don't know. I don't think Christine is here. I think she's at work right now and not able to join us. But any rate, so let me stop blah blahing and let's move on to some other sew-offs. If the owner is still here, if Mary is still here, and you have a preference on what we do next, please let me know that. I've got denim, I've got velvet, I've got bubblegum material, I've got vinyl paper, I've got a ton of elk-hide. I don't know what I was thinking, but I've got elk-hide, I've got saddle grade leather, and I'll probably cut another piece of this as well. But those are our choices right now. So if Mary is still here and she wants to voice a pecking order for the sew-offs, I would certainly welcome that if she as the owner wants to express that, and then I'll try to stitch in that order, at least for the most part. So these are our choices again right now, and you can let me know if you've got a strong preference one way or the other. All right. Leather next. So the owner is saying, let's do leather. So let's do leather next. I'm going to go through the elk hide first. And again, if you look at it from the side, This elk hide on this princess is not going to be a super duper easy sew off. It's going to be about 4 or 5 ounces of leather. Again, leather varies in its thickness depending on where from the hide it is taken. So even this piece of leather here, it's going to be fairly consistent, but it will vary slightly. Over here, it's a little bit thicker than maybe down here, but we're still looking at about 4 or 5 ounces of leather. So let's see if we can sew some leather on Mary's Princess of Singers now. Okay. All right, I'm going to lengthen our stitch length again, see if we can get a little bit longer stitch, get my take-up arm all the way up so it's on that down swing. See how it's kind of heading down on that downstroke now. This is the best place to launch. The best place to launch. So I should be able to launch and successfully do this genuine elk hide on Mary's machine, even without a hand start. I'm going to keep my hands down here so you can see that I'm not giving it a boost. And I didn't show this to you, but I will real quick. Right now, Mary has this set up with an electronic foot controller. It's not set up with a traditional Bakelite foot controller. And this foot controller is made in Taiwan, and they say that it's rated up to 1.4 amps. Not sure if I believe that, because we've had other ones that have been rated this high out of Taiwan, and we've used them on FOF machines and some of the other classic vintage machines, and they actually got hot. So use their rating on amperage with a grain of salt. It may not be rated quite that high in reality. But with a 0.4 amp motor, with a featherweight, we shouldn't have any issue at all. I'm going to take my ring off too, just because I'm so close to the bed on Mary's machine. Take my watch off as well. All right, let's give this a go. Here we go. Come on, girl, you can do it. I'm not used to these electronic foot controllers. They kind of react a little bit differently than some of the traditional foot controllers. So I got to get used to them a little bit. Okay. And just because of our time, and I've got some other customers that are going to be coming to the workshop following this live stream, we're not going to spend as much time stitching through this elk hide a second time. What I will do is I'll have this available for Mary when she comes next week to pick up the Necky machine and also this featherweight, and then she can take it with her and can try stitching down it again. So yeah, some beautiful stitching. Let's take a look at this. And again, this is about 4 or 5 ounces of genuine elk hide. And we do have the benefit of a leather needle, although I didn't apply enough pressure on that foot controller, and so we kind of hit that leather and stopped, didn't we? It gives you an idea of the density of that leather. Very nice, very, very nice stitching. Very, very nice stitching. And the only thing that I always look at things with a critical eye. I think you know that about me. I always look at things with a critical eye. Some beautiful stitching, this top stitching. But if we were going to be sewing a ton of this elk hide, I would reduce our upper tension just slightly. I would reduce our upper tension just slightly because it's not prominent. It's not prominent, but I'm noticing on some of the stitches a slight, ever so slight, barely noticeable tilting of the stitch. And that's indicating that for sewing this elk hide, we would need a little bit more bobbin pull down to define that top stitch. In other words, our upper tension, our upper tension is being a little bit of a bully right now, barely a bully, but just a little bit of a bully in overpowering the bobbin case and being able to pull down and define that top stitch better. So the simple solution, if we get a little bit of a tilting, it's barely noticeable, but if we get a little bit of a tilting of that top stitch, then we have two choices. We either increase the bobbin pull by taking out the bobbin and slightly, barely turning that screw, that adjustment screw on the bobbin case clockwise, or we back off our upper tension a little bit so that we get a little bit more definition on the top stitch. But again, it's barely noticeable, but it's noticeable to me because I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it. So all in all, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful top stitch. Very beautiful top stitch. But we would make a slight adjustment in increasing that bobbin pull by decreasing the upper tension to give even a little bit more clarity of stitch to that top stitch. Mainly right there, you can see a little bit, barely see a little bit of the tipping of the stitch. And that tipping is a tension factor where that bobbin case is not strong enough to straighten it out. But again, it's barely noticeable. And once we get into a rhythm, they work together very nicely and they straighten that stitch out and they give us a beautiful, beautiful top stitch. But again, we didn't go through a light sew off. Look at that. And you can see right here where the density, the thickness of that genuine elk hide is a little bit thicker on this end. And that's why we needed a little bit more bobbin pull to straighten that stitch out. See that? Right here, we're probably closer to 6 ounces of leather. And you can see the result as you go across the thickness of that genuine elk hide. It's a little bit less thick going through here than it is right on the end. And the result is that tension is adequate. That tension is adequate and balanced going down the rest of the stitch line. But just understand what to do. Understand what to do. Here's our lock stitch. Lock stitching is going to be spot on. Beautiful, beautiful lock stitching underneath the nap of that genuine elk hide. And again, it's going to be, if we look at this lock stitching with a lot of scrutiny, it's going to be a little bit over accentuated because right now we're stealing just a little bit away from that top stitch. But still a really, really nice balance. Very, very nice balance. See the thickness of what we went through. And again, I tend to be hypercritical because I always think we can improve things. It's part of our Kanai principle, constant and never-ending improvement. Other people would look at this stitching on this elk hide, recognizing how thick it is, recognizing that a featherweight sewed it, and they would go, "That's gorgeous. What are you being so critical about? Why are you being so critical, Scott?" Because we always say there's no such thing as a perfect stitch, not even on a featherweight. And we can always make it better. So we learn together in the classroom how to make it better. And then when we step out there with our near perfect stitching and everyone else looks at it and it goes, "Oh my gosh, that's perfect," we just smile sweetly and say, "Thanks, but I could make it better. I could make it better." Yeah. So top stitching, really, really lovely top stitching by this featherweight. Same thing with the lock stitching as well. Through some crazy thick leather. Yeah, but we can always make it better. We always, always, always can make it better. So I'm going to put that back there with our cotton sew off. And now we're going to go through, let's see here. Let me cut one other piece of saddle grade leather because I do want to do 2 layers of saddle grade leather. I didn't know why I cut one. Well, yes, I do, because I did this off camera. I did this off camera and I never cut another piece. So let me do that real quick. Also, I think I got a text message as well. Let me see what the text message is. Oh, that's very sweet. That's very, very sweet. Kathy King just sent me a text message. I just looked at it. And Kathy King said, please gift to Mary anything I might have been lucky enough to win when she picks up her machines. So for purposes of sending a concessionary gift to Kathy King is saying, thank you, but give it to Mary. And I respect that. So whatever I was planning on giving to both Teresa and Kathy King, I'll go ahead and give that to Mary on behalf of Kathy King. However, if Teresa reaches out and says, you already know I've had success with those double eye needles, would you send me some of those Teflon coated super duper pooper scooper universal needles by Schmitz, or send me some of those easy to thread needles, blah, blah, blah. I'm more than happy to do that for Teresa. And there's no shame in that. Kathy King is just saying, give it to Mary when she picks up the machines on Monday. If Teresa still wants some concessionary gift, I'm glad to send it. And all Teresa has to do is send me her address, her mailing information, and I'll be glad to do that. But it's very thoughtful of Kathy King to do that for the owner. That's super cool. Yeah, super cool. All right. Okay. I think I wanted to check that. And that's what Kathy King just wrote to me. So there you go. Okay. Let me do this. Let me do this. I've been talking almost continuously for almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 54 minutes. Let me real quick put on a little bit of interlude music and kind of catch my breath for a second. I'm going to catch my breath. And then we'll jump back into this. We'll jump back into this straight away. All right, so let me take just a quick little break. See if I can find some suitable music to put on. And sorry, I'm so naughty. I'm reading a quick email from another customer. We have been searching around the globe. We've been searching around the globe for a specific part for a Viking 3600. And if anyone's curious to Google Viking 3600, they stand out prominently because they have the most interesting orange sherbet paint patina from the factory. But the Viking 3600, I can find parts anywhere. I've gone as far away as Greece for a customer with a machine in the workshop to find a part that we need for the machine. And now the customer, who is an absolute peach, an absolute sweetheart, her name is Cora Lee, not Sarah Lee. We're not talking about baked goods here. We're not talking about baked goods. But Cora Lee, C-O-R-A, Cora Lee has jumped in with me. She's the customer. She's jumped in with me because I had tried to search a number of channels, could not find the part that we needed for her Viking 3600. Very rare model. Seldom see them ever. And she just sent me a quick email saying, I found a donor machine. It's technically a 3610 Viking. It's right after the 3600, but we both looked at pictures together. The stitch selector is the same. We think that that part that we need is going to be a match. We're kind of rolling the dice. We're kind of crossing our fingers and our toes. But she says that that machine is going to be arriving, the donor machine, tomorrow in the first half of the day. Here's the problem, and I'm not going to tell Cora this. I'm going to tell the folks that will watch out for packages for me. I'm going to tell them that that package with that model 3610, which we're hoping the parts will work on the 3600 Viking for Cora Lee, is going to be arriving tomorrow, and have them be on the lookout for that package. So none of those nasty porch pirate people try to steal it off of the porch of the workshop. But let's hope that that donor machine, that the part we need on it is a match, that it's in great condition, and we can finally get Cora Lee's Viking 3600. Look it up. Look it up for parts and stuff. You can't find them nowhere. So let's hope that this is a fix finally for Cora Lee's machine. Let's see if I can pull up her picture and show you what a wonderful gal this lady is. Where is she? Cora Lee, where are you? Come on, Cora Lee. Show me the profile. Show me the profile of this gal. Doggone it. Okay, I'm going to show you a real tiny picture of Cora Lee, and you can just tell by her picture. And this is a customer that says, I'm going to jump in with you, Scott, and see if I can help you out. I don't know if this is going to show up at all. I hope it does. That's Cora Lee. She's a dream customer. At every turn of this project, if she can help, she's willing to help, even to the point of tracking down a donor machine that hopefully will supply the parts. And that's the kind of customer you hope and pray for. Most of my customers are that great. Some of them are not. I'll just leave it at that. Some of them are not. They're not that peach of a customer like Cora Lee. All right. Give me just a second here. Just a moment. I can do the da 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 da. Da 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 bum 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 bum. I wish that song were longer. Maybe I need to sing it slower or something. I don't know. But at any rate, we have a Viking 3600 series machine arriving at the workshop, according to Cora Lee, tomorrow. And I'm going to keep my fingers and toes crossed that it has what we need. That happens sometimes on a project where parts can be a challenge. I've got a lot of networks, a lot of resources, but still, sometimes a machine like this, that's an incredibly rare machine, can really give us a challenge. But we never give up. We don't give up, because this machine has sentimental value for Cora Lee. So we're gonna figure it out one way or another. We're gonna figure it out. All right, almost there. Someone else sing that song for me for a little bit so that we can fill this little gap of space, or interact among yourselves and share interesting stories about your vintage collection with other folks so that they can be like, wow, I wish I had one of those. Yeah, you do. Sure you do. Everyone wants one of those, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Okay, I've crossed my T's, I've dotted my I. Now I'll put on a little bit of interlude music. And let's see here. think I'll put on some Irish music. No idea why, but Irish music. Whoa, slow down, buddy. All right, so enjoy this music for a second. I'm going to quickly take care of something, rest my voice for a second, and cut some saddle grade leather to go with this piece. And then we're going to resume. We're going to resume. Goodness gravy, my alarm's going off. I just got a package too. I popped out real quick to check to see if there were any sewing machines dropped off. And I got an Amazon package. Now I'm curious what it is. Most of you know I don't use, let me pause this. I don't use Amazon. I'm not an Amazon Prime person or anything like that. And it just says Amazon Fulfillment Services, Bakersfield, California. You know what? That's where Joelle is from. Joelle is from Bakersfield, California, I believe. So there must be a big Amazon place right near where Joelle lives. That's got to be interesting. I have no idea what's in here. I didn't order anything. Did not order a thing. Let's see what it is. I also got another package yesterday from Amazon as well. And it was from Candido and Rachel out in New York. And it was something I absolutely needed, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'm going to tell you what it is. I don't know who this is from or what it is. Oh, I bet you I do know who it's from. I bet you I do know who it's from because I see right away the Working Man lotion stuff, or cream as it is. And I'll bet you it's from Susie. O'Keeffe's Working Hands Cream in a jar. Amazon receipt. Let's see, there's another paper in here. Ordered August 10th. There's usually like a little paper in here that says who it's from. Maybe that's, oh, there it is. There it is. Ha! Yep, my hunch was right. Thank you, Susie. The Cow Country family is so incredibly generous and thoughtful. So I've got more of this for my hands. This is great stuff if you've never tried it. Great stuff to keep your hands soft and supple. Special cleaning brushes, dental brushes for cleaning the machines in that. All kinds of them. Oh, and then Susie wrote in here, Scott, these hardworking, sturdy little brushes are what I use in the kitchen and around the house for those detailed cleaning jobs. I thought you might like to try them in the sewing machine shop. From Susie. See that? I would not even know how to order something on Amazon. I'm being honest. I would not have a clue how to order something on Amazon, but Susie knows how. Candido knows how. Emma knows how. I'm guessing all of you, except for me, know how to order things on Amazon. But anyway, thank you very much, Susie. Very, very thoughtful. Very thoughtful. Yeah, I could show you Candido's now, but I'm going to make you wait. I'm going to make you wait and wonder what Candido and what Rachel, they also ordered this from Amazon. I received it yesterday. I acknowledged it right away, and I thanked Candido and Rachel for sending it, but I'm not going to tell all of you what it is. And Candido and Rachel and I can keep a secret for a little while. You know what I might do is maybe I'll pull it out when I do that unboxing of that machine that is 4 parts for a machine out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Remember I told you I got it and it looks like it's a real spongy box. I wrote a nasty, well, semi-nasty note to the person I bought it from. I said, why'd you use such a crummy box to ship a fragile electronic computerized machine in? What's wrong with you? I didn't say it like that, but I was pretty annoyed. So, but thank you again to Susie for doing that. Very, very thoughtful, very, very kind. And I'll just show you our plate again. This one, I just did this on the live stream. If you joined us a little bit late, this one was all nasty. You could see it all the way down to the bare metal. And you can see we got a, yeah. So if you got a plate like this on your machine and it's all scratched and nasty looking, rewind after the live stream and you can see what we did with this. Yeah. Ha-ha! Isn't it fun learning new things? I learn new things every single day. Every day. Every single day. Oh, wait a second. I got so excited about that package. I forgot. Oh, Jiminy Crickets. All right. Hang on a second. I got so excited. All right. More Irish music for a second. This will just take me a moment. Ha-ha! Yeah. Oh, we should sew some of this protected full grain too. Matter of fact, I could make this my sewing around in a circle thing. It's not really a circle though. Use your imagination. We'll just kind of stitch maybe, yeah, I'll put that over there. All right, let's try to match this. That's not the end of it, is it? Oh, come on. We're not done yet. We're not ready. Rewind, rewind. Ha-ha. Okay, now you can end because now I'm done. I'm done. Now you can end. I don't need you anymore. You don't need to play music anymore for us because we're done. Yeah, we are. Wait a second. I didn't know that was there. All right, that's enough. Okay. So now we're going to try 2 layers of saddle grade, and they're not equal thickness. The one on top is going to be thicker than the one on the bottom. That's the way it is when you've got leather hides. They vary in thickness. So we're going to give this a go and see if we can get through these 2 layers of saddle grade. This time I'm going to give it a little bit more gas on this electronic foot controller and see whether or not we can plow through this without a hand start. I really am determined to try to do these 2 layers without a hand start if we can pull it off. So let me get my take-up arm all the way up. We got that. Got that. All right, this time I'll hit that foot controller with a little bit more gusto, hoping we can plow through it. Okay? Oh, you know the other thing I could do real quick? Remember before our top stitch was a little bit underdefined. I'm going to adjust this back right now, just slightly. A little bit more. There we go. And see whether or not that helps define that top stitch a little bit more. All right? Foot pedal, got it? All right. Let's see if I can do it this time. A little bit more gas. Here we go. Yeah. I think I did better that time. I think I did. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that adjustment we just made did the job as well. You saw me do that real quick. Where I took the upper tension and I turned it back just slightly because before we had just a little bit of a tilt when we did that elk hide. And that's exactly what we needed to do so that that bobbin case could get more of that power back. Let me show you what we just did. This is our top stitch. Let me leave that orientated like that so I don't screw it up. Top stitch. Okay. So this is our top stitching, and then I'll show you the lock stitching after that. Excuse me. And again, we just went through 2 layers of saddle grade leather. Look at the alignment of that stitching. The alignment of the stitching, this is our top stitch again, depends on that bobbin case to have enough power to pull down to define that top stitch. We backed off that upper tension to give more power to that bobbin case, and look at the result. Beautiful stitching. And right at the launch point, if you looked at that, right at the launch point, you'll notice that some of the stitch lengths are a little bit inconsistent. And that's because of the feed factor. When we initially launched, you notice that there was a brief pause as that needle was cutting its way through those two thick layers of saddle grade leather, and then the feed dogs kicked in. There might have been a little bit of a slip because there wasn't enough presser foot pressure for these two layers of saddle grade leather. But all in all, as you look across, we have a beautiful, beautiful page 34 stitch on that top stitch. Really, really quite lovely. And then we got into a nice rhythm and finished that off beautifully all the way across. And again, not a light sew off. Here's our lock stitch. We're going to look at that lock stitch now, finally. We gave some back to that bobbin case so we could have a better top stitch, but we didn't give so much away that we would lose anything on that lock stitch. And there's a beautiful lock stitch as well. Beautiful lock stitching. So our lock stitching, definitely a page 34, probably a page 34 plus. Lovely, lovely stitching. And the same through our top stitching as well. As a matter of fact, our top stitching is a page 34 plus plus. I really love the way that top stitching turned out. And all we did was make a subtle adjustment to that upper tension so that we could have better definition on the top of the material. Always understand that your upper tension is going to define the lock stitch on the back side of here. Your bobbin case is going to define the top stitch that we're looking at right here. So beautiful stitching all throughout. That's kind of upside down, isn't it? Haha. Beautiful lock stitch. Come on, camera. Beautiful lock stitch. Beautiful top stitch. Lock stitch, top stitch. Lock stitch, top stitch. Lock stitch, top stitch. I know that's annoying as heck. I know it is. All right. All right, I'll throw that into the pile over there. And we're going to do a little bit more leather, but I'll save this until the end. So let's move into now, let's do a little bit of this velvet material. Let's do a little bit of this velvet material. And I'm going to see if I can just, instead of cutting this, I'm going to see if I can just fold it over. And if we can feed down that material and get this done. All right, let's do some velvet now. And I'm going to leave the presser foot pressure where it is. We'll just see if we can buzz down this velvet real quick. And then we'll move on to a couple more sew-offs, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up. I know we've been running long because of all the stuff that I wanted to cover. And it kind of puts us behind a little bit, doesn't it? But that's okay. I'm going to use some of these clips that Paula Noel sent me way back when. Hopefully I can keep this together a little bit better. See if I have one more. And yes, Emma, I did face them the right way this time. The correct way, I should say. Emma had sent me a note, and she always does it in such a sweet way, but she basically said, Scott, why do you put some of the clips facing one way and put some of the clips the other way? You know the flat side is supposed to be down, right? I said, I do. I'm just being a rebel. Just being a rebel. All right, so let's do some of this velvet now. 2 layers of velvet, and we'll see how this machine maintains tension. I backed off the upper tension a little bit. I might just go ahead and bump it back again since we're sewing so light now, because we need a little bit of help with that lock stitch sometimes, don't we? Need just a little bit of a boost. All right, let's give this a try and see what we get. Matter of fact, I'm going to even go up a little bit higher, up to about almost 5. All right, here we go. Let's see how we do. Hope I didn't give it too much of a boost and take away from our top stitch. No, I think we're pretty well balanced. We're a little bit weak on the top stitch because I made that adjustment up here to bump it up. But I think all in all, we maintained a good balance. Again, these are kind of one-offs for us, where we're sewing velvet one time. No, I'm happy with that. It could have a little bit more pop. We'll look at it closely. It could have just a tiny little bit more pop, but all in all, that's a good top stitch. But you'll notice the contrast where that lock stitch definitely has a little bit more prominence than the top stitch. So let's look at that top stitch first, and then we'll look at that lock stitch after. This is our top stitch. Little piece of lint there. There we go. Top stitch. Very, very nice stitching on this velvet. And you think about it, we've gone from a field of leather to a field of velvet now on this featherweight. It gives you an idea of when Mary's machine is running at this top game, it's able to go through a wide field of materials and still lay down some beautiful stitching without any major adjustments to the machine at all. And again, we're sewing velvet right now with a leather needle. I don't know that Schmitz would recommend that you sew velvet with a leather needle. I don't think they would. But we're doing it anyway. Well, you can see here, we've got a good looking top stitch. Get really, really close to it. Very good looking top stitch, but we could probably give it a little bit more of a boost. A little bit more of a boost. Let's turn it over finally. Let's look at that lock stitch now. And actually, I'm rethinking this now. I'm rethinking this. On this super light sew off on this velvet, as I'm looking at these lock stitches a little bit more, we're seeing a little bit of that tilting again. A little bit of that tilting, which tells me that if we're going to be sewing a lot of this velvet, these 2 layers of velvet, let's say for a tree skirt or something like that, we're going to have to make an adjustment of that upper tension up even a little bit more. And we might have to fine tune that bobbin case so that we don't lose the top stitch. But right now I'm seeing just a little bit of tilting. Let me see if I can get in there again. Just a subtle amount of tilting. And that could also be a result of us using a leather needle on velvet, where it's cutting through in such a way where that thread is getting a slight tilt to it. But in all likelihood, we could fix that by bumping up our upper tension just slightly. All in all, though, a good looking stitch. Yeah, velvet can be a little bit tricky to sew, but all in all, I think we did a good job. And our setup is not ideal for sewing a wide field of materials. We really are set up for leather, aren't we? But there's our lock stitch. There's our top stitch. Yeah, and 2 layers of velvet. So let's see here. What do we have left? We've got denim. Maybe we could jump over to some denim now. I do want to do some denim while we have the featherweight set up here. So 2 layers of that. Excuse me. 2 layers of that. Go ahead and bump it. Bump it from 2 layers up to 4 layers. And then finally 6 layers of denim. So now we're going to be looking at sewing denim with a leather needle, which is a little bit kooky, but that's okay. 6 layers of denim. You look at it on both ends here. Let's see how we do with this. And hopefully we have enough pressure for clearance. I think we should. All right, pressure foot down. I'm going to bump this up on pressure foot pressure just a little bit more. Give us a good 3 turns. 3 turns of pressure foot pressure, because now we're dealing with 6 layers of heavy grade denim. And we're going to try to get adequate feed. And to do that, we need more pressure foot pressure. So let's see if I turned it enough. Hopefully I did. Right now, our take-up arm is in the absolute worst position possible. It's all the way down. So we got to bring it all the way back up now. There we go. Double check my threading. All the threading looks good. Okay. So 6 layers of heavy grade denim on this featherweight 221 that belongs to Mary. And again, it's from 1951 at the centennial year for Singer. All right, let's give this a try, see what we think. I kind of went crazy on the foot controller there a little bit, didn't I? A little bit crazy on the foot controller. I was like, pedal to the metal. Pedal to the metal. Yeah, we have some really good balance. I'm seeing it on here. This thread is a little bit hard to see, even on this darker denim that Emma sent. But I'm looking at it up close. And not only do we maintain good tension, but I'm also looking at the stitching as far as the size, that it wasn't compressed due to feed. And it looks like that increase of the pressure foot pressure really did the trick. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. This Gutermann thread, I think, is a little bit of a lighter. We shouldn't say lighter. It's a little bit different of a color than the Coates and Clark that we usually use. Even getting really close. Maybe like this. There we go. So this again is our top stitching. There you can see the stitching right there popping through these 6 layers. And really looking good. Really looking good. Very nice stitching. So again, to give you an idea, this is our top stitching. Looks really nice. There's our thickness of 6 layers of denim. Now I'm going to spin it around. Let's take a look at that lock stitch. Let's see if we had enough upper tension to maintain the integrity of that lock stitch. And our starting point right here, we definitely did. We definitely had some really good tension balance on that lock stitch. Beautiful tension, beautiful stitch definition. No skip stitching, no loopiness. Very nice balance on here. I'm looking at my cuticles and my fingers right now, and I'm thinking I probably need that that lotion stuff that Susie just sent by Amazon. My fingers are looking kind of dry, aren't they? So 6 layers of denim on a featherweight. A lot of people would not attempt that, but I'm hoping that this live stream and this later as a video, when it's converted to a video after the live stream, I'm hoping this will open people's eyes up to the fact that featherweights can do the heavy duty thing as long as you maintain them properly. And we just went through 6 layers of this, no hand start. Top stitching is spot on. Lock stitching is spot on as well. And this is a definite win. It's a definite win for this featherweight from 1951. And we haven't done a huge amount of sewing. I'm gonna cut this. It's bugging me. It's so long. We haven't done a huge amount of sewing. I'll leave a little space for Mary. We haven't done a huge amount of sewing because of all my blah, blah, blah and covering all the other stuff. But we did elk hide. We did 2 layers of saddle grade. We did velvet. We did 6 layers of heavy grade denim. And then we also did the cotton right at the very beginning. So we've got a decent sew-off sandwich started, covering a spectrum of leather, velvet, denim, and even cotton. We could easily stop here, but I'm just going to go through a couple more sew-offs before we wrap this up. I might even, you know what? I might even skip the bubblegum material. I love sewing this stuff because it really does present the stitching well along with this vinyl paper. Let me ask the owner, if Mary is still here, if Mary's willing to stick it out and everyone else is, we only have 3 sew-offs left, but I'm also sensitive to the fact of how long we've run. We've already done all of this, but we still could do vinyl paper, bubblegum material, and then finally kind of stitching around and around and around and around and around on this protected full grain leather, probably almost 3 to 4 ounces of leather. You can see that from the side. So I'm going to leave it up to the owner. I'm going to leave it up to the owner if she wants me to do these last 3. Otherwise, if she's short for time, we'll do the final sew off on this protected full grain around and around and around, and then we'll wrap up this live stream. So I'm going to look at the live chat, see what the owner is saying, and then we'll go from there. Joelle is such a sweetheart. Joelle writes, I like that Wizard of Ocanto. Well, some of the leaders already know this. Some of the leaders already know this, and I'm going to drop a little bit of a bombshell on all of you. Some of the leaders already know this. But I have outgrown my space. I've outgrown my space in Ocanto. Plus, I have some personal things that I've been managing that will be necessitating relocating the workshop very, very, very soon. I'm not going to give you a date, but I'm going to say we'll be relocating this workshop very, very soon. And the Wizard of Ocanto will be a closed chapter in our family. And the Wizard will be going to another location that gives me more space and also gives me new opportunity, and certainly new opportunity to the community as well. Because like Joelle and Emma and Susie and the list goes on, Jenny and everyone else has said, you really have become an ambassador for Ocanto. And that was a fairly unknown little town. And you've made it world famous now because of what we've done through our live streams, through our fundraisers, and through everything else. But I'm going to be taking that fame and that opportunity to another community soon, very soon. And I will give you more updates on that as things zero in and become clear and fine-tuned. And I'll tell you that, unfortunately, I'm not looking at California. I'm not looking at California, but I might be looking somewhere else. So I'll just share that with you real quick. And that's why I'm trying to work feverishly to get as many projects done as I can before that transition occurs. Before that occurs. So let's see what the owner is saying. Sarah Wimmers. Sarah Wimmers. And I'm not seeing Mary chiming in. Mary might have had to stay because we've run so long. So let me get a consensus vote from the leadership team, please. Let me get a consensus from the leadership team. Do we do a final sew off with a protected full grain leather? I'll do my best to kind of go around and around and around. Or do we do the vinyl paper and the bubble gum material and this to wrap up this live stream? So I'm going to get votes, and not just, I said the leaders, but anyone that wants to chime in, please chime in and tell me your thoughts on, do we do 3 more sew offs and call it done? Or do we do 1 more sew off and call it done? I'll let you all decide while I get a quick drink of Diet Coke. And I agree with Sarah. This is really quite a lovely Centennial machine, isn't it? This is Mary's final machine that I finished for her after getting done with the other machines that she brought, including the hand crank that is now out in Nevada. Yeah. And again, it's not perfect, but it sure is perfect, isn't it? Ha-ha! It's not perfect, but it's perfect. Ha-ha-ha! Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Ha-ha-ha! Nice. Mary left. Okay, Emma confirmed that Mary had to step away. She can watch the rest of this as a video afterwards. She had other things that were on her schedule that she had to take care of. Yeah, so I'm hearing consensus. Let's do protected full grain leather and call it done. That, if I read it correctly, that's what I saw. So we're going to skip bubble gum. We're going to skip vinyl paper. Let's finish this up with some protected full grain. Again, I'm just being honest, and I'm kind of glad. And I'll whisper this. I'm kind of glad that Mary has stepped away, because, and I told her this. I said, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of electronic foot controllers. They meter out the speed and the rate and the pace of the machine differently than a traditional foot controller. And that's why sometimes I have to gun it a little bit to overcompensate for the way it meters out the power. So this might be a little bit of a challenge for me to sew around this material. I might have to hand turn it a little bit as well as I'm making corners, but I'll do my best to manage it well. I'll do my best. Okay. So let's get this done. Let's wrap this up, and then we'll consider this this live stream complete. Yep. Okay. I'm going to get one more swig of soda before we do this. No, I'm not preoccupied with numbers. I just love spending time with all of you. I love spending that time together with us and enjoying and celebrating another great machine that's gone through the workshop magic, like Mary's Centennial Featherweight 221. But I see right now we probably, even after running as long as we have, we still have 17 dedicated souls. Did we have additional people during the live stream? Did we have those crazy numbers again with people popping in to seeing what we're doing? Because I wasn't watching the numbers. I wasn't watching to see if we had a large group of folks pop in to check us out again. Again, I'm promoting this in certain ways on Facebook, and I think it's causing our numbers to spike up and down during live streams. Did we hit any weird numbers today during the live stream? If we did, just type that number. Anyone took note of it, type that in the live stream live chat right now. I'm just curious if we had a large group of cow country folks kind of pop in to check us out, visit for a while, and then step away again. Just kind of curious if we did. Okay. So I'll wait and see if there's any response to that, because I didn't take note of it. All right, let's see what we can do with this protected full grain leather. Again, protected full grain leather has a special coating on it to protect it from staining. They use this in a lot of places where there's going to be traffic. People might be drinking beverages like wine. Wine is a horrible thing to stain things. And so they oftentimes will use this leather like on some of those Lear jets, where the rich people are going to be drinking their wines and maybe spilling a little bit on the seat, and it's designed to resist that staining. So we will see. We will see how we get through this material with a leather needle, but it's starting to tire out a little bit. So here we go. Yeah, I'm not a fan of electronic. I'm not a fan of electronic foot controllers. Ha ha. I'm going to make one circle and then I'm going to quit because I'm not a fan. Not a fan of electronic foot controllers at all. When it comes to regulating speed, they're nice in that they don't overheat, but I don't like them as far as how they meter out the power. Not even a little bit. All right, let me see if I can make this turn and then complete our circle down here, and then we'll kind of call it a done deal. Yeah, I'm going to stitch right across. Even the way I was trying to regulate that with the feet and everything. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Let me see if I can do this. Thought I caught a little bit of a snag of the material maybe down in the bobbin case. Yeah, I'm seeing tension issues. I'm seeing some tension issues on the upper tension. Okay, so let me make an adjustment. I'm going to cut one more piece of this. We're going to try this one more time. I'm going to stitch off on this straight away. This is going to have to be backed off on this protected full grain leather the way it's coming out right now. Let's give this a try one more time. Cut another piece of this and we'll buzz down it. I'm not going to go around in a circle with this foot controller. It's going to drive me buggy. Okay, so I got this. Oh, I didn't do so good in cutting that. Okay, so much for sewing around in a circle using this electronic foot controller out of Taiwan. I'm going to see if I can buzz down. I'm just going to check. Hopefully I didn't get a barb on the needle. Try this one more time. I adjusted the tension. And then we'll do a final stitch off on this single layer. Let's see here. Checking tension. Yeah, I'm going to check the bobbin case real quick. I think we may have had the thread slip. And we did. See what happened? See if I can show that to you. The thread right now, instead of being underneath, oh, I'm holding it the wrong way. The thread right now, instead of being underneath this tension band, and this happens occasionally with these bobbin cases for the featherweights, instead of being underneath the tension band right there, it slid out of position. So we're going to verify it, and then we're going to resume this one more time. So the thread should be coming over the top. I'm not even going to swab this bobbin case. It's nice and clean. going to slide that back into position again. Get this down that track. Get that all the way underneath the tension band. There we go. That was an easy fix, but if you ever have that happen where all of a sudden your tension seems to not be responding correctly, you know you've got a decent needle, verify your bobbin case. Sometimes those threads can slide out of position, especially on these featherweight bobbins, because they're a very shallow bobbin case, and they can slide out of position, and then all of a sudden you lose your top stitch definition completely, kind of like we just did. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to get this back into position, and we'll finish off this final sew off for this featherweight. Make sure my needle is not pointing down. Okay. Now we're going to draw our needle back up, or our thread back up, excuse me. Draw our thread back up. See, it's fun to have things go wrong sometimes because it becomes a learning lesson for us, doesn't it? I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what's going on? We had this happen recently on another machine too. Okay, so now we'll do our final straight stitch line because I'm not going to goof around with this electronic foot controller anymore and trying to regulate going around in a circle. Kind of wish I had a larger piece. Yeah, this is cheating. This is cheating. I could buzz down and consider it done, but we had a bigger piece. Bear with me for a second. You cut a bigger piece and do this right. I don't want to cut any corners. I may regret this because I'm going to have to battle that foot controller a little bit, but I'll just jump into it and do the best I can. Okay, let's give this a take two on this protected full grain leather. And why don't I, to calm my own spirits as I'm going through these final steps, wipe off that bed as well. Why don't I put on a little bit of music to wrap this up with? All right, this is our final sew off. And thanks for everybody's patience as we've gone through a very long live stream, but we covered a lot of good information. I think you would agree, including how to recoat your throat plate covers if you've got that base metal showing through because someone has tried to clean it too aggressively. And you can end up with a great outcome like this that will really enhance the look of your machine. So if you missed this, if you joined us late, check this out and see the process that I used for recoating this throat plate cover. But for now, let's finish off this sew off. All right, here we go. Clip, clip. Needle down, needle down, needle down. Oh, needle up because All right, take two, take three. Here we go, one more time. I'm going to do a little bit of reverse sewing on this. That way I don't have to slow down with this electronic foot controller. All right, here we go. Clip, clip. All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. Well, thank you to everybody for being a part of the live stream today, and for contributing as well as you did with different things. I'm just going to go ahead and recap real quick what we showed off during this live stream. And just got done doing this one as well. Did some spinning around there with this 221 electronic foot controller. We did elk hide, saddle grade, velvet, denim, cotton, and then last but not least, we just buzzed through this as well with this protected full grain leather also. So I'm going to consider the deal done. Have a great rest of your day, and I might try to sneak in one more live stream before Saturday for that unboxing of that FOF machine that has come in for parts, and then we'll go from there. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. Take care. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. And again, watch for a live stream as far as an unboxing. It should be a exciting and borderline terrifying unboxing because this is clearly not packed well. So keep eye for that, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks.